What up, though?
What up, Doc?
It's your boy Bandit, and y'all know who he is.
I'm Day.
And this is
DaeDae.
Detroit. What up, though? When we hit the hottest topics in Detroit, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, and Red Rings topics. We got a couple of special guests for today, and y'all know who he is. We call him Paw, but y'all call him Chris.
What up, though? How's everybody doing? Woohoo! We're one wake up away from a big day.
Yes, sir. Chris got the goggles on because he's swimming in the blue Kool-Aid. Also,
Absolutely.
we got somebody special today for y'all from the 3-1. I forget what, from the 313. His name is Ed, and he's co-host with Steve, so you know he's more than family when he welcome here. Ed, introduce yourself and let them know where they can find you at.
What up, though, yo? It's your boy Ed from the D313XP. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing all right.
We good. We here. We ready.
We here.
With that said, let's get right to it. We're gonna start off with some Piston news first.
Yes, sir.
Resurgence of the Pistons, man. The Pistons been on a winning streak, man. Even though I think they just lost their last game, but prior to that, they've been on a winning streak, man. You're back in that playoff. Look at that where they at right now in the playoff picture. I think they're still in ninth. Yeah, they're still in ninth. One game out of seventh, though. DaeDae, how you feeling about the Pistons, man?
Man, I thought they were in 6, but I guess that loss last night dropped them back down to 9.
Yeah.
Man, I'm extremely happy with the Pistons, man. I don't want to say I'm sitting here and say I'm a Pistons fan, but obviously being from Michigan, I've watched the Pistons my whole life, and we all know they're struggling for the past, 10 years or so. They've been one of the bottom feeders. And it's good to see them, man. They're playing ball well. They don't look like just a bunch of talent just thrown out there together, not knowing what they're really doing. The team is really gelled. And Cade, man, Cade is just he's hooping, man. I haven't seen a guy this dominant in Detroit since maybe Grant Hill. You could throw Billups in there as well, but I think he's the best player in Detroit since Grant Hill.
So,
hey, man, your thoughts on the Pistons right now?
I think we look great. To me, right now, this current winning streak and then the trajectory the team is on right now shows that competency matters when it comes to leadership, man. When you finally have somebody in the GM spot, at the president of basketball operations spot, along with the coach, who actually has a clear-cut vision and actually understands how to execute something, to get the guys to buy in, it's paramount to a team's success. And so, what we're seeing is from last year, when you have a guy come in that's actually serious about winning, the players pick up on that, and now we have a winning culture in Detroit. It's been great to see.
Bickerstaff has done wonders for this team.
Yes.
Wonders.
So I got a question
what
for
you
you.
got? What you got, Pawpaw? Pawpaw has something to say. What you got, Pawpaw?
I like it. I haven't watched a lot of basketball lately just because of one, I'm not the fan of the newer version of the game. But I have watched more Piston basketball lately just because of how well they've performed. Kate, watching the game the other day where Kate just took over towards the end of the game, a lot of dish offs. Trusted. I can't remember who hit basically the game. I think it was Beasley hit the game-winning 3 basically. But I mean, they got they got some of the right pieces in place, and they're doing very well. I love it. And going back to you saying that you seem like they were in 6th. Well, the reason why is because between 4th place and 9th place is only a 2-game difference. So
okay. Well, that loss last night was pretty big then.
Yeah.
Last night, man, even though they were down 99% of the game, they were never out of it. They kept it, I want to say, between like 14 and 8 most of the game. So even when they're down and they're losing, they're still battling. They're tough. I hate using this word for other teams besides the Lions. They're gritty.
Mm-hmm.
They're tough.
And they're doing this without Ivy too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So I got a question for y'all before we get to the next topic. You see the Pistons making the playoff. DaeDae, I already know you said you got the Pistons making the playoff. You made that season prediction at the beginning of the season. I'm going to ask Ed since he's our special guest, and then I'm going to ask Pawpaw.
Yes, I see us making the play in. As if I'm talking whether we went out in the playoffs or not. that remains to be seen. But I definitely see us making the play in. I think we're that good just by the talent that we have. And as for the playoffs, it depends on what Trajan wants to do. If he wants to ride it out with this squad, I'm not sure if we don't get caught at the tail end by some of the superior teams that are, more jailed, have better talent. If we get maybe the short end of the stick in that capacity. But in terms of getting to the play-in, I definitely see us making that just by lieu of us having the best point guard in the East. As for, doing it without Ivy, a couple of, my bros are for the 3-1-3. We think, to be very honest with you, at least just in my opinion, this Cade pair better with a movement shooter on his right as opposed to a guard that has to have the ball in his hands. So I'm not really surprised about this.
Okay.
But see, the thing I would say about that is we don't really know how those two, Ivy and Cade, can play together. Because I think since Ivy came in the league, they haven't played more than, I don't know the exact numbers, but maybe 20 to 25 games with each other because either Cade's been out, Ivy's been here 3 years now. This is year 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
And then last year he couldn't really get off the bench because nobody knows what Monty was doing last year.
Well, he was hitting the lick. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, he came here for the bag. I'll give him that. He
He said, "I robbed the connect. Ain't been broke since."
and this year, we were starting to see it, and they were playing well next to each other this year.
Mhm.
And I think that is what credited the turnaround in the beginning early of the season is how those two were finally starting to gel. And then we know what happened to Ivy, obviously.
Mhm.
So once again, it's another season of not knowing what we have with those two.
Mhm.
And I see the Beasley point too because Cade can drive and kick. And what have Pistons fans been saying forever? Cade needs spacing. Cade needs shooters.
Yeah.
And now they have guys who could shoot. They don't necessarily have guys who can make it, and Tobias and Tim Hardaway. Hardaway was shooting the lights out the gym early last night.
He's hot right now. He is.
So to your point, I don't really know. We don't know how it could go either way. We're starting to see he's playing well with Beasley, and what we've seen what he was kind of doing with Ivy before Ivy got hurt. So until we get a full season out of Ivy, we don't really know how those two really can play together, in my opinion, at least.
I think we have enough of a sample size. See, they play together. I think right now anybody can fit with Cade just because of the kind of player that he is. My thought process is that I like Ivy as a player, but and I think sometimes it's difficult for us to process, especially as like Detroit Pistons fans, because we have not had a player top flight in so long that it's hard for us to decipher how we want the team to look going forward. But what's true about all squads, when you finally get the guy, you have to build around what's good for the guy. It doesn't matter about anybody else. It doesn't. When you get that dude, it's about that dude. If you look at Denver, it doesn't matter what Jamal Murray is doing. It's about what's good for Jokic. He's the guy. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter about anybody, even though they have, and a better example, even though they have supreme talent on OKC, excellent talent. It's about what's good for SGA. It's not about what's good for any of those other guys, even though those guys could be first options on other teams. But that's just how good SGA is.
Jalen Williams will be a first stop. Easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just as I said, I don't want him gone or anything like that. It's just I think it's a worthy question. What is best for Cade? Does he need a movement shooter on his right? And also, for me, defensively remains to be seen. J.I. is giving you 17.5 points a game, etc. However, defensively, I think he's moderately better this season, but not much. I'll point to the Kings game about that. The Kings were literally isoing on J.I., just picking on him on defense intentionally. Guys were running right past him. Like Kevin Huerter had 2 possessions where he ran right past him, and he couldn't stop anybody. The kid's 6'4", he has a 6'10" wingspan. He might be the fastest end player in the NBA. And defensively, I've seen moderate improvement. That's another thing to consider. I think Cade needs 3-and-D guys next to him. For his sake, and we're talking about a number 2 option. I think it also remains to be seen. A question I have for the rest of my colleagues on the 3-1-3: do we have a core here with the Pistons, or do we have a Cade?
No, we have a core. I think there's a core.
Okay.
I think it's a really young core. Obviously, Cade. Okay, hold on. There's a core, but that core is still developing. Okay, hang with me for a second. You got Cade, obviously.
I'm with you.
and then you got Ron Holland, and Ron Holland has improved from day one till now.
Yeah.
When he first came in, he looked like a lost puppy. Let's be honest.
He's 18. Yeah.
And now look at him. He's, in my opinion, one of the better defensive guard forward we have in the league. So if you can develop him into being a better shooter, and his defense can kind of stay where it is and go up just slightly, okay, that's piece number 2. All right. When I think of core, I think 3 players minimum.
Has to be.
Asar. I think Asar is another one. His athleticism, his defensive end, his defensive prowess is unmatched. I think he might be the best defensive player on this team, to be honest with you.
Possibly the best perimeter defender in the league.
And then
Dyson Daniels.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels. He plays down here where I live in Atlanta, and he's a dog on defense.
He's a dog, man.
Same thing with Asar, though, man. You just got to develop his shooting. You can develop his shooting. I think that's third piece in that main core. Then you got guys like my city just said Stu.
Stu is a role player. That's my thing. That's my point with that. When I ask that question, do we have a core? Or do we have a Cade? Because when I look at core, I look at least one of the guy who has actual true star potential. And so we see with SGA, he's clearly the man, but you have Jalen Williams there, who's clearly a bucket, who's clearly could be a guy all on his own. Do we have that here in Detroit? My personal opinion is the ceiling on everybody. I think Ron Holland I put out as an outlier just because this is rookie season. Give this young man at least another year or two to be in the league before we start to even ask questions about Corey. Right now, he's just proving he belongs in rotational minutes in the NBA, and he's done well with that. But with the other guys we've seen, Asar, Ivy, the issue with Asar and say Ron Holland, they play the same position. So eventually they're going to have to make a decision right there. That's why I asked, do we have a core or do we have a Cade? Right now, to me, the only sure thing I see on this team is Cade Cunningham. Do I like the other guys? Absolutely. But am I so attached to them that I don't believe that upgrades could be made? No.
I definitely think they can upgrade the center position. I think Durham.
Without a doubt. Oh, yeah.
He's been playing better on defense. He's been playing better defensive as of late. But he's still such a liability on the defensive.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with you.
Still, hell, you could say Stu's a better defensive player than Ivy is, really.
Much.
And Stu's undersized. Stu's undersized, in my opinion.
Oh, he's undersized. Yeah, much.
He's like Jason Maxiell, but better.
Not Jason Maxiell. He was a baller, though. I got a question for y'all. As we welcome Nate the Great in. Nate, introduce yourself and let them know where they can find you at.
What's up, Nate the Great, man? Got where to find me on? You find me here or here anywhere. I have a podcast, One Ass Cheek and Three Toes. Check it out. Yeah,
that's literally the Lions right now. We're down
exactly.
One Ass Cheek and Three Toes. Right now.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll still beat your ass. So man, it's our podcast. Check it out. Just talking Lions like all y'all do, man, and just excited for this ride, and hopefully it ends at the Lombardi at the end. That's all I gotta say.
Ain't no hope. It's happening. Ain't no hope. Ain't no if. Ain't no what if. Ain't none of that.
It's best to lose this year, man. Period.
It's got to be our year. Shit, it's got to be our year. It just has to.
Well, finish off the Pistons talk. I got a question for y'all before we go get into some hockey talk. Where Chris, I'm gonna let you strive. Question is, do Cade deserve to be on the All-Star team this year?
He deserves to start.
Ooh.
He deserves to start.
Ooh.
Where's he in the voting?
6th.
Yeah, he's getting robbed again. Getting fucked over again.
Well, look at who's gonna start. Tatum's gonna start. Brown's probably gonna start. So he's gonna be a wing. So I don't know. He's
gonna be a guard.
He's gonna be the one. He's gonna be the one.
Cade is a guard.
Yeah. Mitchell's gonna start. He's not gonna be up as a point guard. He'll make the All-Star. He'll make the All-Star. He deserves it. Like Cade has had a great year. Like this whole Pistons team has had a really good year. Like hiring Bickerstaff was one of the best hires. I mean, again, Detroit going for a non-sexy hire. You know, like they did with Dan Campbell, a guy nobody knew about. I knew about Bickerstaff, and I was like, dude, this guy is a no.
Didn't he coach for the Cavs?
assistant coach in Cavs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's a guy that, you know, he's not a Monty Williams type. He wasn't a big name. He was a guy that just comes in with just wants to coach and you know, wants his opportunity. And I've watched the Pistons play. I mean, you know, they're impressive. Like, they, you know, losing Ivy sucks, but they just have a right fit with their players.
They do.
So you think Cade Cunningham should start as All-Star?
I think Cade Cunningham is the best point guard in the East. Period. And I don't think that's debatable personally. And and that's not me being a homer. We're talking about point guard. Who is a better point guard than Cade Cunningham? Because the other guys you want to who?
Jalen Brunson
is not better than Cade Cunningham. You saw that in the Knicks game. I'm gonna tell you what they did. And I love that you brought that up. Jalen Brunson is so bad defensively that they were willing to leave 40+% shooters wide open to triple team Cade Cunningham to hide Jalen because he couldn't check him.
Look
what about him?
Stats, man.
25 and 7. 25 and 7. Cade gives you 25, 7, and almost 10 assists a game with excellent defense.
Jalen's not your pure point guard. Jalen's a scoring point guard.
Cade is giving him almost the same amount of points. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you want to talk about out of those two, who's the better point guard, it's definitely Cade.
But to be also be fair, Cade's 6'6" and Jalen's like 6'1" or 6'2", so he's got an advantage over playing against smaller guards than Jalen, where he has to body up with you know, guards either taller than him or shorter than him. You know,
I mean, if you can play, you can play. The size doesn't matter. It's a lot of guys that are.
That's true, but you know, there's advantages to that too. You know, like you play against bigger guards, it's tougher to get your shot off. If you play against smaller guards, it's like shooting over a chair.
I mean, but it's not Cade's fault. The Lord blessed him with height, man. I mean, that's by that metric. You know, Edie should be the best player in the game because he's 7'4".
Hey, man, respect Edie, this slow ass motherfucker.
You can play. You can play.
I like Cade. There's no disrespect there. I do like Cade a lot. I wouldn't say he's better than Brunson, but
okay.
My best point guard, pure point guard in the East. If you want to talk, if we take defense out of the equation, it's Trae Young. Trae Young.
I knew you was gonna go with that Atlanta bullshit.
Yeah, I'm glad he said that too.
Even if I didn't live here in Atlanta, you know, I would still have to go with Trae. Because if Trae's having an off night shooting, he'll go out and fucking get you 13, 14 assists while running the offense.
Okay.
You know? And get you 5, 6, 7 rebounds.
Because look, this is
12 points if he's off.
Look, I want the smoke with that one too. We take Trae. We take. Yeah.
That in a while.
Let's go. Go ahead.
All right, so here's the thing with that, Larry. We'll take defense out of the equation. I'll give you that. All right, so we have to look at efficiency. Trae Young shoots 39.8% from the field this year. He shoots 30% from three. Trae Young is just a guy who's allowed to jack shots, and yeah, he moves the ball. But we're talking about impact. Trae Young is not the best player on your team. Jalen Johnson is.
Yes, I mean, I know that kind of goes against my point about being the best. But you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jalen Johnson is the best player on this Hawks team.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. My point is, the Pistons are a game better than I think. Are they tied the same record now since the loss, or they were a game above Atlanta last night? All right.
Atlanta's like 10, so yeah, I think they're ahead.
Okay, so they're a game above Atlanta. Watch this, right? Who has better talent around them? Trae Young or Cade Cunningham?
Trae Young.
Without a doubt, right?
No.
Do we have? Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Actually, yeah.
Vastly superior talent.
You're cooking. I would actually like that. Yeah, Tyson Daniels.
Detroit has overall younger talent, more overall better younger talent.
No, we don't. But we don't have anybody on our team as good as Jalen Johnson.
Thompson
is as good as Jalen Johnson.
Well, I mean, what wing on our team is as good as DeAndre Hunter, who's averaging 20 a game off the bench?
Let's be honest about DeAndre Hunter. This is a resurgence year for him because he's been down.
It sure is. He's been down, but he's nice this year, man. I can't throw anybody. I can't throw somebody's past performances in their face. If you're doing well this year, bro, I can't hate.
I like the Pistons' young talent, man. You got Sasser too. You got Ivy. He's going to come back. I mean, they're full of first-round draft picks, man. You can't say that
I don't like Sass.
They haven't even peaked yet.
Right, that's fine. But are any of those guys as good as the guys on the Atlanta Hawks?
No.
All right. So until last night, the Pistons were a game above the Hawks. They won the head-to-head this season. Cade is impactful on all three categories you look for: rebounding, scoring. He's much more efficient than Trae Young is. Defensively, locks down. Look at his synergy stats. He's actually top 15 amongst guards in the league, both interior defense and perimeter defense.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing with Cade, and
What's
like
up?
I said, no disrespect with Cade. I like Cade a lot. I think Cade is finally blossoming into the player that we've expected him to be. And even last year when they sucked ass, he still played well until he got hurt. You know, the thing is that with Cade is that Cade's shown it in the regular season.
Okay.
Trae Young's been in the playoffs. He's been in big games. Jalen Brunson's been in big games. He's been in the playoffs. So really, we can have that argument when Cade gets into the playoffs, which I think it could be this year. I mean, they're the 8th seed right now, right? I haven't been following a lot of basketball because the Lions are just kicking ass right now.
Okay, so I hear where you're coming from. I think that's a valid point. Now, my issue with that is it goes back to the past. I can't talk about DeAndre Hunter for what he did last year, how much of a down year he had last year, just like I don't want to talk about Trae Young making the playoffs and doing one of the playoffs 2 years ago. As of the last 2 seasons, he's been wildly inefficient and porous on defense while surrounded with talent. This is what he's been. This is the trend. This is the same thing with Joel Embiid. He's an MVP. Okay, he cried his way into that, and now he barely plays.
Right.
And so the conversation is different if I even want him or not.
Yeah.
And so if I'm building a team and asking me, like, I can pick, look at their body of work this season, who's the better player right now, and from watching these games, et cetera, who I'm going to pick to build a team around, I'm not picking Trae Young over Cade Cunningham at all.
Oh, I agree with you on that. I mean, I would take Cade because Cade does more. I mean, he rebounds, he plays defense.
So if he does more, he's better than, right?
That doesn't always equate to being you're the better player.
What does?
I mean, in this instance, I'll give you this one. You got me. Cade is the better. You got me. I got no argument.
I got you.
But that specific point, just because he does more, he's the better player. That doesn't always like mean that. Because look at Josh Hart from the Knicks, and we'll move on. We'll move on to the hockey stuff after this point. But look at Josh Hart from the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? He's a walking 10 and 15, and that's just assists and rebounds. And then he'll go out there and get you 10 points. You know, he can rack up triple double with the best of them in the league. Does that mean he's one of the best players in the NBA? Absolutely not.
No. So now piggybacking off that, because I think that's a good point. What I'm saying is we're talking about responsibility on the team and impact. Okay, Josh Hart does that in the lieu of a role player. We're not going to ask you, Josh, to do anything but give us 10 hustle points, get boards because you're good at it, and check the other team's best defender. We're not asking you to do this, plus run the offense, plus play defense, plus win us the game possibly, plus get everybody else involved, plus all those other things. Cade does all those things on an elite level. Josh is tasked to do a couple things a night. Cade is tasked to do everything.
But he has to do that right now because he's got a lot of young players that are still developing their game. And Cade is the one that's he's been in the league for 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5.
4 or 5, 1 or 2.
No,
okay.
3.
And he missed
he didn't play.
Season.
He's a third year.
Yeah. So and he missed almost the whole season. So it's like 3 or 4. So I mean, they have. That's what I said. The Pistons have a lot of young talent that hasn't developed yet, and they're doing a good job of putting veteran players with these young players, just like the Lions did. No different than the Lions did. The Lions drafted these young players and they brought in smart vets to mesh well with them. That's what creates success, and the right coach. And so Cade has to do more because his team is not as stacked as these other teams are. But the potential is there. There's no doubt. Losing Jaden Ivey was huge because Jaden Ivey was balling out. Like Jaden Ivey was the Robin to the Batman of Cade. And finally, we were seeing what Jaden Ivey was going to be. And then he had that vicious injury. But like Jaden Ivey, I would take Jaden Ivey over most of the players on the Hawks team, if I'm being real. I like
Jaden Ivey's better than Jalen Johnson?
I mean, there's two different positions, man.
I mean, we're talking about impact.
I don't know what. Okay, what's Jalen Johnson averaging? I have not been watching basketball.
20, 10, and 5.
Okay,
I think it's just a shot. I think it's under 20. It's
what's
like
Duran
19
averaging? What's Duran?
9 and 9.
Okay,
well, that's right. It is now. I see.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson's good, but Jaden Ivey's probably the third best player out of those two teams.
Let me think about that. Jaden Ivey's not better than DeAndre Hunter.
I don't think DeAndre Hunter's that good, bro. I mean,
I don't think
averages-
DeAndre Hunter's just a spot-up shooter, really.
yeah,
So
he's
again,
got a resurgence, but he.
But I mean, this is Ivey's breakout season, and in a resurgent year, DeAndre Hunter averages more points. He can check 5 positions. He's a better shooter.
Who has a higher ceiling?
What's a higher ceiling? I think me personally, I think Jaden Ivey's ceiling is a little bit higher than what you see now. I don't. Let me say this, man. And I like the young man, but I think sometimes people get into homerism with some of the players on the Pistons because this pains me to say this, but I have to because I got to keep it a bean. I hate giving Stan Van Gundy any credit for anything because I think he's a clown. But when he evaluated the talent around Cade Cunningham on the Pistons, people were talking about, what about Jalen Duran and what about Ivey? He's like, those guys are rotational players on other teams. Those guys are stars. I actually think he's correct about that. Jaden Ivey is not this. He's not this Dwayne Wade kind of archetype player that people are trying to say he is. Do you want me to tell you what I think Jaden Ivey is, man?
I don't think we know yet, man.
Let me tell you. I'm just saying. Just my opinion. I actually hope I'm wrong because if I'm wrong, that means we actually got a hell of a player. My opinion, he's Leandro Barbosa.
Oh,
just more athletic.
Hey, that's cool. I'll take that.
Just more athletic.
Yeah. And to be fair about the homerism comment, I'm not a Pistons fan. I'm a Knicks fan, actually.
No, I'm not talking about you specific. I'm talking about really the fandom, brother. Just like sometimes we get guys, man. Like I think my boy Dave put it out. Marcus Sasser. I'm glad you said you don't like Marcus Sasser because I don't either. Like he's just a little shooter off the bench, man. That's it.
He reminds me of Lindsey Hunter.
Yeah, but Lindsey's locked down.
True. Well, we can move on to hockey, man. We've been talking basketball for 30 minutes straight already.
Yeah, we did. Good talk, fellas.
But you know what?
We're able to talk Pistons for 30 minutes, so that's how you.
I'll be right back, Neil. I'll be right back.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing if we can talk Pistons.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
You're right, Paul. Paul sure is.
It's not supposed to stick that fast.
Man, hey, used to be 30 seconds worth of material, right?
All right, let's get into a little hockey real quick. Chris, this is for you.
No, thank you.
All right, McMillan, has he really turned his team around that quick, that fast?
Yeah, he has. He's definitely turned it around. We call him his nickname's the Todd Father now. I mean, this guy has he is a no nonsense guy. I mean his statement is basically fucking play hockey. Like that's a statement that he's known for already. His practice routine is so much different than Lalonde's, aka Uncle Fester. Yeah. So he used to try to practice like every parts of the game within one practice. Todd McClellan literally works on an entire practice on just one single entity. So like whether it's working the corners, whether it's keeping the puck in, or whether it's face-offs, whether it's breakaways to the other team's zone, odd man rushes, playing defense. He works on just one of those entities for an entire practice. He gets deep into the topic. He gets really to the details of playing the game. He literally sits. When they show, if you watch Twitter, they'll show like different schemes but different practices he has. He's literally right by each player saying, "Hey, you got to do this and that." Like he is in the weeds, just like we're going to keep saying this because it's good. All this growth is coming from the Lions, but he is in the weeds. He is a glue guy. He's in there. And when we took that loss, he came out and said, "Hey, a specific player has to he set up it was Hall, but you have to work. He's going to call you out Whereas our previous coach didn't. He was just like, yeah, we gotta learn to like do a lot better, and just we have coach speak. This guy is not coach speak.
Chris, to quote what exactly what he said was he know he could do better, and he gonna get on his ass. He'll talk to him tomorrow, but he know what he gonna have to do to get back to his game.
But see, that's the thing. The previous coach doesn't.
That,
the previous coach didn't call out the players. He does.
As he should, man. You got to hold accountability.
That's right.
Exactly.
You know?
So they can. So from what I'm seeing, can they turn around? Can they make the playoffs? Absolutely, they absolutely can.
Thanks for taking my next segment.
Yep, I knew it was coming up. I just didn't know how fast you were going to turn your little slide.
I wanted to hear what Ed had to say because he said he was trying to get in.
Okay.
No, I was just going to ask, Paul, do you think the impact is because of the mentality he's put into the team, or do you think it's the X's and O's of both?
It's both. It's both. Because
I agree.
After a certain period of time, you could start to see when you start seeing veteran players, top tier players, not like you could. When you're just a and I'm not gonna say casual, but when you're just a natural hockey fan, not a purist, but you're just watching hockey to be doing something, you can't tell the difference between the star playing, whether he's doing well that season or not. But when you're a purist and you're watching the game, you could see the difference. They fumble the puck a little bit more. The pass is crisp. They just don't look like they're together. They're giving up on the coach. He lost the locker room like a month ago, and so you can tell that it needed a change. The issue is the Wings have never, ever fired a coach in season. So you don't. So we all expected we weren't going to make the playoffs. This is just going to be a wasted season. He was going to get fired at the end of the season. But when they pulled that's like another level. That's something different. We didn't know how to react. We thought, okay, well, we still might not make the playoffs, but at least we got a change of head coach. But when it came out gates like that, we lost our first game. He literally came on like 3 days before we played our next game, so he didn't really have enough. But we went on that run, and that was great. That was absolutely stellar. We took a nosedive because we actually had to put in a backup goalies because Cam Talbot played like 4 games in a row, so they had to put in Husso, which is he's terrible. So we lost. We lost to one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah, he gave up 6 goals. Husso's bad. He's
I know another team that did that.
I got a question. So he's an interim coach, right? I'm sorry, I don't follow the Red Wings, so I'm
no. He's their head coach.
He's their head coach. So
he's their head coach.
He's not an intern. He doesn't have the intern.
Not an intern. No.
Well, they took the intern off him and made him head coach.
He is a head coach. I mean, he's going. So I can't remember if he signed a 2-year deal or not, but he's not their interim head coach. He brought in an assistant with him. Like this is.
So he didn't start the season. They didn't start the season with this guy. They brought he got fired, or the other guy got fired, and they made this guy a head coach. Okay.
Yes.
So here's my thing with interim coaches that become head coaches. You have to be careful because anytime a coach gets fired, there's always momentum after the coach gets fired. Teams, new voice, new direction, things get played differently. You got to be careful because just like when you sign a player in free agency, you sign him for what you think he's going to do going forward, not what he's done. So the thing is that with this coach, and again, I don't know about this coach, so I'm not trying to trash him by no means. But if this coach is who you say he is, it sounds like he is the leader you want to take in going forward the rest of the season and so on. That's why they gave him the deal. Yeah. But it's tough because if this coach goes on a losing streak, you're still stuck with this coach. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like a wave. It's like a wave. You ride the wave, and if the wave goes off, then
okay. So here's the thing: is the last two coaches were both minor league coaches. No head coaching experience ever before. Only minor league. Look what happened. Blashill, I didn't even want him hired. 7 seasons with the Wings, straight garbage. He could not. He was a great minor league coach. He was very good at developing players to get him to the NHL. but he could not get them to that next level. I don't know why we kept him so long. Second, Lalonde looked like he was promising because they got a lot of momentum. They went through last year and it looked good. And out the gate this year, it just looks like his recipe was too old school, dump and chase. Like we don't have players with the speed to get into the zone fast enough for a dump and chase step mentality. Now, now with our new coach, Todd McClellan, he's been a head coach several times, have made the playoffs several times with LA. The guy he brought with him has been in different stints with him as well. So they have a very good recipe together. They've been other places together.
So this guy's got a resume, is what you're saying. He's got a resume. He's got a resume for success. He's
correct. Absolutely. And this is good. This is what we've been waiting for. This is a guy that can get you over the top because he has previous head coaching experience. That's what you want. And so and I'm glad they brought him in. He was kind of off the radar too. So we didn't expect this. We were looking for one of the other top coaches that got picked up. Some people didn't want him. I think Quinville was another one. I don't know if he's still out there, but some people wanted him, but others didn't. They didn't like it. But this guy came out of nowhere. So he's really instilled a stellar area. Now, what I have said on the previous shows, like we're out the gate good, and that's because we do get the momentum. A change in voice, people get excited. Now, there's still like 38 games left in the season. Yeah. We're probably still going to go through a losing streak. Every team does. It doesn't matter how good your coach is. You go through swoons through an 80-game schedule or 82-game schedule. So we're going to hit it.
Yeah. It sounds like you hired Dan Campbell. Like it's a Dan Campbell 2.0. I mean, the leadership, the accountability, you know, to be able to turn a team around and get the mentality right, you know, change a losing culture into a winning culture. Like it seems like that's a lot of Campbell's intangibles. And honestly, if you look at all the coaches that the Detroit's fan base has hired, like the Pistons, the Tigers, the Wings, the Lions, they've all been really gritty, you know, average dudes that know the game, but they're not coming in with an ego. They're not coming in with their hair on fire.
Coming in with something to prove.
Exactly. To prove to themselves, but also to prove to the players that they're coaching, to show like, hey, I'm like you. I've been in the trenches with you. Like I want you to follow what I'm telling you. Like Bickerstaff's a perfect example. Bickerstaff's had success. Like you said, he coached the Cavs. Probably got fired for no reason, in my opinion. I thought he should have stayed on there.
Absolutely.
I agree. Not about.
You know, but the fact is that he was a winning coach and he wasn't coming in with the pedigree of Monty Williams, but that's okay because you have a young team that's underdeveloping, that has a lot of young heads and not a lot of vets. So they had to turn to Monty Williams, and that's not what Monty wanted. Monty wanted to coach a veteran team or a team that was more up to speed, and that wasn't the case. Bickerstaff took the opportunity and said, you know what, I can work with this team because I've coached teams of lesser talent and been successful. Yeah. And this team has a lot of talent. It's just a matter of uncapping that talent and that ability.
Yeah. So
that's McClellan, isn't it? Because he coached at San Jose, right, and Edmonton, didn't he?
And LA as well.
And he won there with less talent, if I'm not mistaken. McClellan's won 600 games, if I'm not mistaken, as a coach.
Sure. Yeah, he's that's what I'm saying. Like this guy is proven. I like what we brought in to do it. I mean, also to like right now we have four. Well, we won one of the top ones, but we got a four game away home grind against top teams. We already got rid of one. We dispensed 5-2 last night. So, but here's the downfall. We have the toughest schedule in all of the NHL the rest of the way. We have
if your coach is valid. That's my point.
That's what I'm saying. So some people there's going to be a swoon. We're going to hit where we're going to lose a few games in a row, and people are like, here we go. It's like, well, no, you're playing the best record the rest of the way. If you can make the playoffs playing against these teams, that's battle.
Well, it's all about the mentality. Look at the Lions. The Lions came in with a first place schedule. Everybody had a target on their backs.
Yep.
You know, the reality is people are like, oh, the Lions are going to do that good. They're going to play a tougher schedule. Everybody's going to be out to punch them in the face and all that. And Dan Campbell, all he cares like, whatever, dude. 15-2, number 1 seed, 2 games away from the Super Bowl. Like,
Yep.
what else you got? You know, but it's the mentality that he puts into his players that makes a difference, because you can say you want to be champions, but if you don't believe it, sleep it, and eat it, it doesn't matter. And that's what I see all these fan bases of Detroit are doing. They've all brought in winning coaches. The Tigers brought in Hinch, who from the Astros. They brought in this guy from the Red Wings. Bickerstaff had success with the Cavs. Dan Campbell had success with Miami Dolphins. They just got a bigger opportunity and the right opportunity, and now you're seeing them gel and really show why there's such a good coach.
Yeah, I like the process of the Detroit sports teams now. They're on their way up. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, we were really down and out like within the last like 5, 6, 7 years, like just Detroit sports in general. But we're on the way up. I love it.
I remember that. There was a graphic that came out. You know, worst.
Oh yeah, I remember that
worst
graphic.
records by cities. We were the worst. We were the worst.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it's because you weren't hiring the right coaches. Yeah.
As a fan, we all knew it. We were like, yeah, we can't even try to argue against that. Like, all of our teams suck right now.
And so far, the one thing they all have in common is a new like
regime.
Yep, a regime change for each one. And
besides Michigan.
Except
they have a system. They have a system how to do things.
We probably got some competent heads in there. Is what we got.
Yeah,
except the Tigers, because they have an owner who won't spend a dime.
Well, he also the owner of the Red Wings too. So
that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
The ownership ain't the best, but I do still like the front office leadership.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey Neil, can we talk a little about the Lions, man? Because I just came on after the Lions talk.
We always say the Lions for last. We got college.
Oh, okay. Never mind. My bad.
Got college basketball.
You go through all of them.
You should have told him. You should have told him. Oh, you missed it all, man.
Yeah, you missed it.
I was ready to throw him out there. I was like, hey, let me get my Lions points in. I'm ready.
But right now, Nate, next is on the schedule. We're gonna talk a little college basketball. You good with that?
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. On the up and up. Michigan Wolverines is 13-4, ranked 20th. Michigan State 15-2, ranked 12th. One's third in the Big East, Big 12, and one's first in the Big 12.
Big 10, full
Big 10.
Big 12.
Get that Ohio State crap out of here.
That's that Big 12.
Hold on. That's folks. We're gonna talk about that last.
And Bandit, we technically the Big 18 now, so I got you back on that.
18, it's almost the Big 20.
I got my numbers wrong. You feel me? My bad. Miscounted at 20. But hey, Chris, I know y'all Michigan State fans, man. How y'all feeling about y'all college team right now, man?
I love it. I mean, it's Izzo for life, man. Like that.
Legend.
He could take a group of like freaking seniors in high school and make them like a bubble team. Like, I mean, he's really good. He's a leader of men, is what he is. He's
relatable. He's relatable.
Yep. Very good coach. I mean, consummate professional. I talked to a guy today, believe it or not, at a sports shop today. And I think he said he actually has talked to Izzo a couple of times, and he said that the guy is just very down to earth dude, like a dude you'd have a beer with.
Mm-hmm.
But very good leader of men.
He's one of the old heads that's a little left in college basketball. I mean, Coach K retired. You know, I'm trying to think of another
Jay Wright. I think Jay Wright retired.
Jay Wright retired. Yeah, he's one of the old heads that are still left. You know, so
what was his name? With the coach for Syracuse? What was his name?
Jim Boeheim.
Boeheim gone.
Nega from Miami retired. Like, I mean, those are the old school coaches, you know. And Izzo's always had a good standard, and he's always set the foundation for his program. You come in, you work hard, you play hard. You're going to get opportunities. You're going to get playing time.
Yep.
And there's no shock that he's been in this league this long with all the young players, NIL deals, all the things that have erupted, the portal, that he's still had success. And you look at the record, 15-2. That's damn impressive. I mean,
we haven't seen the portal come in effect with college basketball yet. I haven't seen it. It's been all football so far.
It's helter-skelter. It's not as bad as football, but, you know, it's going to get bad. Yeah.
I think it will. I think this NIL is going to put an end to a lot of the one and dones. You know what I mean? Some of those kids that come 1 year and they bounce the league.
Especially if they like are second round potentials and they make 3 or 4 or 5 million playing in college. Then
that is the good benefit of the NIL. I agree with Nate. What's up, bro?
I was about to say, do y'all think that's better for college basketball? That's what I'm about to ask you.
Yes, I think it's great for college basketball.
I like
don't want to see young players in the NBA anymore.
I like it. I like it, and the NIL in general. I like the NIL just because, look, man, a lot of the complaints about it is centered around it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. We see what the NCAA has been doing, you know, how corrupt they've been, and I'm glad these young people can get a piece of the pie. However, I do think it needs to be regulated better. I think that, I think it needs to be
a bidding war, literally.
Exactly. It needs to be a cap system. There needs to be a max NIL. Like, for instance, you go into the NFL, there's a max contract to give, barring a little bit of wiggle room. You go into the NBA, there is a max contract. This is the max any team can give a player. Point blank, there needs to be a max NIL deal. It needs to be capped. And also, I think there needs to come with a 2-year commitment. I don't like these freshman guys coming in.
Yes, 100% agree with the commitment.
These freshman guys coming in, and you're mad because you don't see the floor because you live in 3 years. All right, Nate.
I had a thought for this one. So let's say like Underwood is just signed with Michigan, right?
Yeah.
So let's say they offer him $2.5 million for each year for 4 years. That gets you the $10 million. He signs that. The only way that you can get out of it is if you enter the draft. You cannot.
I agree.
What about the shoe deals and endorsements and stuff? You signed up with the school for $2 million. So you telling me if we set a set salary cap for them, that the endorsement deals don't count towards that?
No, endorsement deals never count under. That's money you make on the back end.
That's something that they want to do for you. It doesn't matter what it's college.
That's something different. That's like if a car salesman wants to use that, give you money for you to do.
But I do. Go ahead, Dave.
Like you know, you said something about the endorsement. Look at LeBron. He's $1 billion athlete. You think he made $1 billion playing in the NBA?
Absolutely not.
No, and there's no way the NBA would let anybody pay somebody a total of $1 billion. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's all endorsements, all outside. That's all extra. So if college athletes want to get paid from the college, okay, and then everything you get outside of it, let that be the Wild West. Let that be the Wild West.
But the portal,
they got to regulate the commitment. It has to be a contract. Literally,
exactly.
But the portal,
come here. No.
Yeah, the portal and the NIL. The portal and the NIL.
Hold on. Unless you're like a senior, unless you're like a grad senior, then you can go and sign that 1-year deal, get paid.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you done 4 years of school.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Nate. That's all.
But the portal and the NIL, I think, is great for college sports because the reality is, so many people make the NFL, so many people make the NBA. It's a very small group of people, and people that actually make the big money is even smaller than that. So the fact is, if these players want to get paid to stay in college and get their degree, or to go on a team and make that team better than maybe the team they were on before because maybe the team was stacked or something like that, I'm totally fine with that. Especially in football too, because I was listening to talk radio today and they were talking about Carson Beck taking $10 million to go to the Canes. Well, you think about it, would you take $10 million to go to the Canes, or would you rather go to the NFL, be a backup quarterback or a career quarterback and make less than $2 million a year? I mean, do the math. $8 million difference. I take the NIL deal, and who knows?
I'm not a math whiz or anything, but
I think it's great.
We're not saying eliminate the portal though. It's just for those players that have signed on, the big players, the guys that are like third stringers that want to go start somewhere else. They're not signed for a contract. They can enter the portal and go and try to make
exactly. I think the portal should be juniors. Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead. No,
I think the portal should be juniors, seniors, and grads. Just like what y'all said, you and Dave said, juniors, seniors, and grads.
I'm okay with freshmen. I'm okay with freshmen if the system's not
ready. I'm not. No, dude. Like, the system is like you had time to vet the system when you were accepting the recruitment. I don't agree with the freshmen coming in and thinking that you can dictate and you don't have to make a commitment anywhere. You're mad because you didn't see the floor or you didn't see the field. The truth of the matter is you felt what the gridiron at this level was like and you don't want to work hard enough. If you're a freshman, you're already trying to get out of a commitment. It's because you did not work hard enough. I don't buy that.
Like life.
But you're in your recruitment, you only see so much. You don't see the full picture until you get on the floor and you actually are part of the team and see who you're playing with. You still have the picture of being recruited and what they could offer you.
Once again,
I'm being serious.
You're making that judgment off of 1 year of work. All these guys are playing ahead of you are upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Point blank. This is just like you get a 3-star recruit and he's been lifting weights for 4 years. You're not starting over him because you're not physically ready unless you're some type of absolute tier 1.1% freak of nature. That's not going to happen.
But you're also missing the point. It's all about revenue and dollars. And
sure.
if you're good and you can put butts in the seats and you can make more money for the university, they're going to put you out there. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Even if you're a 3 or 4 year player and you got a freshman that people are talking about.
I take it like this. What's wrong with you taking that money and you sitting back a year waiting and collecting your money, and then the next year you getting in
and developing?
Because they want to play. They want to play.
Because they have to earn their way onto the floor of the field.
Right, yeah. Like,
yep.
But that's a coaching thing too, because some of these
exactly.
coaches,
so that's why I disagree with that statement of, well, you know, if you could put butts in the seats. No, dude, no coach is going to play this is college. At the end of the day, the real stars are the coaches still. Even with this NIL mess, man, the real stars are the coaches. If I'm Sharon Moore, if I'm anybody who's doing any of these things, man, look at this, man. I'm the guy here. I'm not going to put anybody out there on that field who I don't feel is ready to play. I don't care if you're a 5-star recruit. 5-star recruits ride the bench for a year or 2 years anyway. I'll give you a good example. Look at Alabama with Alex Leatherwood. Alex Leatherwood was almost 100 rated overall prospect coming out of high school. Alex Leatherwood rode the bench for 2 years in Alabama before he saw the field.
Because he was on a
I'll give you one better than that.
Exactly. That's the point.
Look at J-Mo, his start of his career. He was a backup at Ohio State until he transferred.
Yeah, but the reality is not all good players always go to stacked teams. Sometimes they go to different teams, and so they probably.
If you do that, that's your fault. There's got to be a commitment, man. I don't buy freshmen leaving after 1 year. I don't buy that, especially if you're accepting NIL. It's got to be contractual. What's in it for the school too? Got to compete.
I agree with you on that. I was talking more about the portal should allow freshmen to move around if they want to.
I don't think it should. That's just my opinion. Of course, hey, man, I can't. If that's your thing, I can't tell you what to believe or what not to believe.
You have to have, if you want to be a freshman, you have to have so many games played.
Yes.
And a certain amount, like a certain amount of percentage of snaps played.
That's a good idea, Dave.
You know
I like
what I mean?
that, bro.
Like you play like.
Well, they usually
30 to 40% of snaps as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you played 9 games? You played like that 8-9 games or something. Boom, you can enter the portal. If you don't play a single snap, you can't transfer.
Mm-hmm.
But as a player, put yourself in their shoes. Like
I've been in their shoes. I've been a college athlete.
Okay, and I respect that.
If
you're on the bench and you're not getting playing time, you're telling me you're cool with just sitting back and waiting and never getting to get playing time to show your skills?
I'm telling you, I'm not cool with my work ethic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say if I'm a real competitor,
I'm not cool with my work ethic. It's not coach. Coach is not just hating on me. The guy that bought me here is not hating on me, man.
But coaches have favorites. Let's be
Why
real.
is that?
They have favorites.
The favorites tend to be the best players.
Yep.
It's
because listen, as a coach, my job depends on winning on the field. I've got to put the best athletes in the place to play. If your work ethic is very low, you're riding that freaking bench until you learn. And
you know why?
Coaches,
you know why is that? Because if we have a losing record for a couple years, I'm getting fired and I can't collect no money.
Point blank.
So
there are outliers.
Yeah.
There are outliers.
Winning is conceded for me to keep getting paid.
Always outliers.
Right, like let's say Joe Burrow or something like that. That's an outlier, but that's an example of the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, and Kevin Durant's a perfect example. I mean, at UT, he couldn't even go to class. I mean, the guy, but he's balling on the court. He's not going to put him on the bench. He's not going to make him sit. He's Kevin Durant, but he couldn't do anything in the classrooms. He didn't show up to the classes. But hey, he balled on the court, so they put him on the floor.
But That's amalgamating. We talk about academia mixing with his on-court performance. We're talking about
hand in hand. It goes hand in hand, bro. I look at it both ways. If you can't ball in the classroom, you can't ball in the court.
But if Kevin Durant came out in practice and didn't put no work ethic in, and it started making them lose, he would be benched.
Well, he could barely bench. He could barely bench, and he was a starter. So,
but he could play.
But he could play.
I get it.
You can't. The contrast between basketball and football, the individual player, you're like 25. You're 20% of the team on the court, where one player on a football field is one of 11. You don't affect nearly as much.
No, it's a bigger sport, and there's more positions. I understand that. But what I'm saying is these coaches pick favorites not only for the work ethic, but they pick players they trust or they players they like.
But that comes into play when you have two guys that are like close to even. Like if they're both working really well, this is my favorite. He's playing. But if they're, and that's only in like a very close comparison. But if one dude is a favorite, but he sucks at work ethic and he's not getting the job done while we're practicing, I'm sorry, I'm putting this guy in.
It also too depends on rather their styles. I mean, look, I'll give you an example. I'm a Knicks fan. Tom Thibodeau is our coach.
I feel sorry for you.
His team. 4 of his top players are averaging the most minutes of the season. That's what he always does, you know. But he's got talent behind him. He's got players that can play. I'm not saying they're better than who they have, but that's just how he is. That's his system. That's how he does it. So whether or not you're a young guy or whatever, he's not going to play you because he's already got his set dudes. He's already got his favorites. He's already got his people.
May I ask a question, Bandit, brother? May I ask a question to Nate? Okay, let me ask you this. Let's stay on the Knicks. Who on the bench is better than the guys they have in rotation playing?
Yep.
Like what do you just like who?
You said Tom Thibodeau has his favorites. And he overplays players, which he's known for because he can't make adjustments. That's the problem with him. That's why he'll never win. But you said of those guys, he has his favorites, and those are the guys that play. And now you said, his starting 5 is stacked. But then you made the statement that he's got guys on the bench. He's like, I'm not saying those guys on the bench aren't better than those guys that are starting, but he has his favorites. So my question is, who on the bench is better than the guys that are in rotation?
And this team, no one. But last year, DiVincenzo could have been a better starter than some of the guys we had. But he wouldn't start him until later because he has his own guys or he has his own people that he trusts, and that's fine. But coaches play favorites not only for work ethic, but it's who they want to play. Let's be real. Sometimes they just put people out there because they want to play them.
Now, I will agree in part with Nate on this situation. There is a coach in the NBA. Well, I don't think he's a coach anymore. Remember Larry Brown, right? What is the one thing he
Allen Iverson all day, baby. AI. He was the answer.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to play him every goddamn minute. Or they would
What's the one thing that Larry Brown never play? Who did he never play?
Young guys.
Yep, rookies. Hated it. I don't care how.
Tibbs the same way. Tibbs the same way.
That's
You don't play
the
rookies.
only thing I'll agree with you in. Certain coaches have certain philosophies, like I won't play rookies. I could get that because you need to earn your keep. But other than that, I mean, you're going to play your best 5. Your job's always on the line.
Right. So, Paul, let me piggyback off that because I get where you're coming from. But then again, we're talking about these are I'm just trying. Y'all say call him Paul, so I'm just trying to keep it respect.
He's sticking with that. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm trying to keep it respect. So, but this is to my point, man. Okay, that's also an example of the exception, not the rule. You get what I'm saying? That's a few coaches. By and large, the guys that are the favorites are the best players. By and large, like so, we're talking about collegiate sports in juxtaposition to pro sports. So that's on the pro level. Outside of a few guys that caught a break and we found out they were a star, who has actually been better than the guy in front of them? Less than 5%.
I was just giving you an example.
No, I agree with that example. That's a perfect example of an exception to where
it's an outlier. I get it.
It's an outlier, but it's a perfect example of the exception. So I agree with you on that. I'm saying by and large, This is why I don't believe freshmen should be allowed to just transfer, because you can't tell me 9 out of 10 times the coach is just hating on them. You can't tell me 8 out of 10 times coach is just hating on them, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. By and large, young fella, you didn't play because you were A, were not ready, or you're B, just not good enough yet. You're a star in high school, and this is the NFL. This is the college sports, man. This is D1. This is not a game anymore. This is not, you can play against little bro in Livonia. They've got a quarterback that's 5'7". This is not that, man. This is the real deal. Everybody's elite.
The reality with college basketball and the NBA is it's very simple. Raise the age limit in the NBA. If you raise the limit in the NBA, players will stay with their teams. Because the reality is all these good players that are in college, they're just playing to get to the NBA. They don't care about the degree. They don't care about playing for 3 or 4 years. They just want to get to the NBA and have a chance. So if that's the issue, raise the NBA limit so you have older players that can get into the draft and are more developed, and you have a better game in front of you.
No, I agree with that in the sense, but they tried that in the past, and they're probably not going to go back to that model. I do agree in the sense that I feel look, I agree with Nate. Look, I'm tired of watching young dudes that can't actually play, get these spots, etc. Yeah, and however, that is on the teams. Yeah, that is on the teams. There's too many teams that are drafting based on upside, and you can't actually play. That is on the leadership there. If I'm a young guy and my agent is telling me, from what I'm hearing, rumblings going around, you're a first-round pick if you come out this year, I'm going to go. Now look, if I get what I think, and I just like to try to focus on the reality of the situation, though I do actually agree with you. I think it should be 20. Personally, I think it should be 20, or as I said, 2 years removed from your freshman year, or 2 years removed from being in high school, something like that.
At least 2 years.
But at least 2 years. But since they've already tried that model, I know they're not going to go back to that. One thing they could probably try to implement in terms of just trying to get the ceiling up or whatnot, increase the amount of time for them to actually test the waters in the draft analysis and the draft evaluation process, because they're probably not going to go backtrack to an idea that they probably already did, but they will explore other things. I say give them an additional month to actually train, get around pro teams, work out for them, etc., and get a better evaluation, and then have these GMs give fair feedback. You know what, man? We don't think you're ready. We think we need you to go back and tell them what it is.
Last thing, we're going to get into Lions football. Go ahead, Nate.
And the reality is that sounds great if we can do it. The problem is that we're talking dollars and revenue again. And these GMs, I don't care if the 3 or 4 year player is better than the player who's only played half the season. Whatever gets butts into the seats and whatever's going to increase the revenue of the team is what they're going to go with. And it's not right, but that's just the way it is. It's a business, and that's just what happens, and I don't know if there's a way to derail it. I mean, there's more and more young players that are going into pros, and a lot of them are failing. And you would think others would see that and say, oh shit, maybe I should stay in college and work on my game. That's not what they think. They think, oh, I'm not going to be that guy,
I mean, they're even allowing, like, I think it's either freshmen or juniors to go to the Senior Bowl this year. Like, this is the first
juniors.
Juniors, yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I don't agree with that, because you've got guys that are seniors that are not top tier guys, but they're guys that could move up that aren't going to get invites, because you have juniors that are projected to be top eventually. So they bring them guys in.
This was the lowest underclassmen in a long time that declared underclassmen in the longest time, and I think it's because of the portal, because a lot of them stayed in college because they knew they could get money somewhere else rather than be a 3rd or 4th string player on an NFL roster.
Some might say good.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get into some Lions topics, man. Hey,
let's go.
Man, I forgot we were talking about
that. But that's good. That means all of Detroit and Michigan sports is like thriving.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yeah. Balling.
Yeah, because when we first started doing these shows, man, it would be like 2 topipics and then Lions for like the next.
Be like disappointing talk. Oh man, we got to talk about the Pistons. Oh, we got to talk about the Red Wings. Oh, we got to talk about the Tigers.
It's a good problem to have,
Nope.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's Steve. I can't see him. I can't hear him. Is that?
Yeah. I'm here.
Oh,
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
What up, Brad?
Your space is blank to us.
You know
Oh.
the picture.
It's just the skyline of Detroit.
Yeah.
Going
Mhm.
on.
It's not a bad view.
No.
All right, but let's get into this new topic. I'm glad you joined, man. Even though it's like, I'm shooting St. I'm shooting St. Brown all the time, all day, every day, man. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, the NFL dropped this earlier, and I just want to know who y'all picking, man. What's your train of thoughts?
I mean, I think
Is
it
that
speaks for
your
itself.
argument? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's a lot closer than you would think, though. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
excuse me, McLaurin's a dog in his own right, and what they ask for him to do.
Mhm.
You know, we ask a lot more out of Amon-Ra than Washington does out of McLaurin.
Mhm.
You know, you figure Amon-Ra is our crosser guy, our comeback guy, our gadget guy. He touches the ball a lot in his offense.
Mm-hmm.
McLaurin's usually the deep threat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
I
it's a
think
lot closer than you think. I'm definitely taking my guy though, for sure. I'm definitely taking Amon-Ra.
I think a lot of what Terry McLaurin does is Jaden Daniels related.
No, because McLaurin's been putting on. No, McLaurin's
He's been a solid player.
With bums.
But
He's been more noticeable with Jaden Daniels.
clearly, with bums? Like who's the bum? Who's the bum?
Who was there last year? He's now the backup in Seattle.
Are you
Heineke?
talking about
Heineke?
No, Heineke's in the San.
No,
Sam
in the
Howell. Sam
Chargers.
Howell.
Sam Howell.
Yeah, Sam Howell. Put up numbers
Okay.
with Sam Howell. Who else started? They had like 2 starting quarterbacks last year. Who
Heineke
ahead
was
of
there at
Howell?
some point.
Heineke.
Heineke.
No, Heineke was the backup in Atlanta last year.
Heineke's definitely in the last year.
But, I mean,
they sucked. Let's put it that
name
way.
the last good Commander football team quarterback since Kirk Cousins left them. It's been Kirk Cousins, a bunch of guys, and now it's
RG3.
E3.
Oh my god.
RG3. Yeah,
Mm.
McLaurin didn't
That
play
goes
with him.
back. Yeah.
So
I'll go Amon-Ra. I think Terry's he's definitely a good player, but I think Amon-Ra is just different.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think with Amon-Ra, the argument I give a lot of people, because here's the thing. When it looks at talent and skill and athleticism, Amon-Ra is not going to blow people off the charts. Okay.
No.
But the thing that Amon-Ra blows everybody out of the water, even the best receivers in the NFL, is
Work ethic,
heart, and technique.
Yep.
And the thing about Amon-Ra is he can play with the best out there
Mm.
because of those 3. So you take away. I mean, he's somewhat athletic. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the one that's going to jump out of the building. But the guy can ball with the best. And the reality is, when I look at the stat line between both of these comparisons, Amon-Ra slams everybody. Like literally, like the only person I would put over Amon-Ra St. Brown would probably be Justin Jefferson, and it's only because the guy catches 50-50 balls. And
what about Chase Young?
I
would take Brown over Chase Young because Amon-Ra can block.
You mean
and
Jamar
he can do
Chase?
it all.
Jamar Chase, my bad. Yeah, but
Jamar Chase, yeah.
Jamar Chase and Chase Young. I mean,
I would take Amon-Ra St. Brown.
I didn't know Amon-Ra get that edge rush, but okay.
Right.
He does it all, and he can throw the ball too. Chase Young can't. I mean, Jamar Chase can't do that.
All right, we all gonna go with St. Brown on this one.
I'll go with St. Brown.
All right, next topic. Are we really about to lose both coordinators?
No.
I think it's a possibility that this offseason, and I'll say this, I'm 51-49 that both of them stay this year.
Oh wow!
Just because I think the season after, I personally think the jobs that they want are not available right now. That's personally what I think from what I'm seeing. So I think the biggest threat is maybe Ben to the Raiders.
Yeah.
That's the biggest threat. But even that might not be what he wants. And at the end of the day, when the vacancy is open that he truly wants, Ben can get it. So, it might be wise for him to wait for his what he feels is his dream scenario, and go when he feels that he can get the job that he actually truly wants. He's got that kind of level of momentum and clout right now, and he's that wanted amongst the NFL. So same with Aaron. At least maybe to a lesser degree. I think both of those guys are in position to get the jobs that they want, not just what's necessarily available right now. So they can play a waiting game if they want to.
Yeah, I disagree with Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn's got to jump. He's hot.
He wants to be head coach. He's gone.
Like, let's be real here. We all know it. He's a black defensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to. I mean, it's out there. The NFL doesn't necessarily hire black coaches. They have a rule for it. You know what I mean? And he's a name that's hot right now, and he's a defensive guy. He's got to jump while the seat's hot. I think Aaron Glenn is gone, but I think Ben's back. I think Ben's waiting for something else.
Let's see what Adam Scheffler had to say about this subject.
Aaron Glenn is going to get a job in this cycle. Ben Johnson is going to get a job in this cycle. And I think that there's every possibility and probably likelihood that the Lions are going to be losing both their coordinators in this cycle. I'd be really surprised if both of them didn't come out of this with head coaching jobs. And I think Aaron Glenn is somebody that already is getting a lot of attention with the Jets, a lot of attention in New Orleans. And like I said, it'd be a major upset to me if he didn't come out of this with a job.
Yeah, I could see him go to New Orleans, yeah.
New Orleans is a layup. He could shake hands with Tom Benson and Mickey Loomis, and it'd be done because they've already had him in the building. He knows the personnel. He knows everybody inside and out. That's a layup. He wants the Jets job. The problem is that they failed with Saleh, and you got no quarterback. You got to deal with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if Aaron Glenn wants to deal with that shit.
Right.
And Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson, on the other hand, Ben Johnson signed with an agent today. That's huge. Yeah. He didn't sign with. He's never signed with an agent before. He signed with an agent, which tells me there's something's happening.
Right.
Somebody breaks down some deals.
Adam Schefter had another statement that he made. It was after this clip. It was like a few hours after this clip, and he was talking about Ben Johnson, and he mentioned that there's not enough people talking about Ben Johnson, and you're going to hate this, DaeDae, to the Bears. He said that there is a definite I know, but if
6 for 60,
if Schefter I'm not buying it. Why would you come out of nowhere and talk about the Bears?
That's what he gets
to do. Podcast. They was talking about Caleb Williams was trying to get Ben Johnson's number, and people was fake calling him saying he was Ben Johnson and shit.
Yeah, I see.
I really don't see.
I think Mike McCarthy is the choice for the Bears, unless they get Marcus Freeman, which I think if they get Marcus Freeman, man, that would be a slam dunk.
Bro, that's a slam dunk and a half.
That's Dan Campbell 2.0, y'all.
Especially when he wins the Natty on Monday.
Yeah, I don't think Marcus leaves Notre Dame for Chicago.
Motherfucker. You got okay, go ahead. Sorry, man. Talking bullshit. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, I think here's the thing with Ben Johnson. And Neil, you brought up the great point when we were on that show with the Bears guys. I mean, this offense is Dan Campbell's. Like this is his playbook. The thing with Ben Johnson is that if I'm Ben Johnson, I look at these jobs and outside of Caleb, there ain't no damn quarterbacks in any of these teams. Mm-hmm. And the first thing that young coaches fail at is not having a quarterback. Mm-hmm. And he sure as hell is not a defensive guy, so he's going to have to hire a really strong defensive coordinator. And a lot of these teams don't have good defenses either. So you look at the options; he's setting himself up to fail. But I do think, as much as I say that, it is going to be the Raiders for two reasons: A, it's Vegas, that's an attractive area, and two, Tom Brady. Tom Brady sold Ben Johnson on the interview. And Tom Brady is pushing heaven and hell to get Ben Johnson there because he's got pieces on the offense and they've got a pretty good defense. And it's
defense, yes, offense, no.
I mean, they got Brock Bowers and they got I don't know who I thought their running back was decent, but they have decent O-line. But they need to add pieces. That's what I'm trying to say. But they have no quarterback. That's the hard sell for Ben Johnson. You have no quarterback.
Ain't no company.
And they're not in position to get one. Either.
No.
Or they're probably gonna get Shador.
No, they have like a 6.
Or Cam Ward.
Or Cam Ward. There's some guy viewers.
Cam's not falling that far either.
Yeah, they talk about Cam go number one.
Now here's the thing though. Who now I think both of them can get jobs, but who's to say that the Lions might match the offer of these teams that offer contracts?
They're not gonna pay him a head coaching salary, though.
No, Dan believes in who he has behind him. Like Scotty Montgomery's ready to be a head coach. Shep's ready to step up. T. Williams is ready to step up.
But when coordinators leave, they usually take some of them guys with them.
Well,
and it could be the same thing as Philly, because they lost both their coordinators, and now they in the situation they in now.
Yeah,
Still,
when Ben Johnson leave, he can be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be the head coach. I'm gonna offer you this offensive coordinator job." You don't think
that's what I try to warn Lions fans about, man.
You don't think they're gonna take that when like you giving me a higher position than what I am?
But
That's
we
more
can't
money
be
for me.
selfish, y'all. We can't be selfish. We've had him for 4 years, man. I mean, shit.
And the same today, you got to pay your bills
too.
I don't give a fuck how long we had. Look how long the Patriots had fucking Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, and they won a ring after that when they split them all.
True.
Exactly. Yeah. Josh is a good coordinator, terrible coach.
It's inevitable, but I trust Dan's tree to find players. I already see the coaches, y'all. Scotty Montgomery can be OC. I love Scotty Montgomery. If you ever listen to him talk to the he's got head coach written all over him. Shep's going to be the defensive coordinator. I love Shep. Shep is a head coach himself in some point. Like
Mark Brunell too.
I think Mark Brunell go with Ben Johnson when he leaves as the offensive coordinator.
No, you got JT Barrett. JT Barrett that can step up. Your boy from Ohio State.
I'm saying, you know, I know who JT Barrett is, but I'm just saying.
or it could be Teddy. It could be Teddy. Maybe they tell Teddy, hey, we want to keep Hooker, and maybe he could be the QB coach.
Could be. Yeah, we'll see how that looks, man. I just think a lot of that depends on what. Let's talk about Ben first. Like, what does he think about the situation? I think Nate made a good point. None of these teams outside of Chicago has a quarterback, and then you also have to think, what does Ben think about Caleb Williams? You know, we can say we have our fan opinion. What does Ben think about Caleb Williams?
No. Well, one thing about Ben Johnson that Ben Johnson's always said. He even said this after the Commanders. When he nixed the Commanders interview, he said he sees a lot of coaches that fail early on in the process. Yes. And he doesn't want to be that kind of coach. So that tells me that when he looks at these coaching opportunities, I think he's asking for the moon for the reasons, because he knows that if I'm going to fail at least by trying to get the best bang for my buck. Like he wants roster control. Cool. Mm-hmm. A lot of teams aren't going to give him roster control. That's what a GM's job is. That's why the Bears will not hire him, because Poles wants nothing to do with a guy like that, because he's trying to take his job basically and nix him out.
Poles will lose next season anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Ben may want his own GM. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. And Ben said himself he wants to bring in his own GM. There's another one. And on top of that, you look at he needs a strong line, he needs some running backs, and he needs a damn quarterback. Yeah. And all these teams don't have really that. Maybe the Saints at some best, so they got Kamara and they got an line, but I mean, I'm talking about the teams outside of the options
Kamara,
we have.
Shaheed and all them,
yeah. But it's a very bare cover is what I'm saying. So if somebody was to stay, it would be Ben Johnson. Glenn's gone. Alex already spilled the beans by saying Glenn wants to be a head coach. He straight up said that. He said that he wants to be a head coach. He's ready to be a head coach. He wants to be a head coach. Like he's gone. I think he takes a chance at the Saints job.
I hear you. What I'm saying is, look, all those guys want to be head coaches. Both of those gentlemen. It's just about fits. Like, what do they really think? Like, I'll tell you this, man. When you see an open position, a lot of things go through your mind, etc. Then the more and more you look at it, you look at the leadership there. As you said, you evaluate the level of talent there. Let's say we don't have the kind of guys that I want. Do I trust this current GM and the rest of the regime to be able to get those guys? Now, when I start to think deeper on those levels, I don't think I trust this position. That's what I'm saying. Do I think, particularly let's focus on Aaron Glenn, do I think he's gone? Yes. Would I be surprised if he was still here next year? No. Also, no, surprisingly, because at the same time, how alluring are these jobs once they really start to think about it? I think there is also a level of, you know what, let me traverse this and reevaluate this next season when another guy is overstayed his welcome and other things and other situations that I think might be just a little bit more palatable than what I see now. That's all I'm saying.
And so I agree because here's the thing with Ben Johnson. If you go into a situation and you try to make it good and end up failing, you're only as good as your last coaching job. So now you got that stigma. You don't want, because now you gotta earn your way back to becoming.
It's like a divorce. Yeah,
that's right.
You got a divorce on your record. You're already bad news bears. When anybody
not divorce, a felony.
Here's another
divorce, a felony. You can get a job with a divorce. You can't get a job with a felony.
Here's a difference. Okay, you ain't lying.
I've been going through it for a while now. I'm just saying.
Here's a point that DaeDae brought up that I totally agree 100%, and I think it's so true. And I applaud Dan for doing this. Aaron Glenn needs to take a coaching job this year because the reality is
not really. He really don't.
Hold up, Neil.
Neil.
Let me make my point. He's a young black man. When honestly, a defensive coordinator, he's not the fit for most teams out there. They're not looking for a defensive coordinator. Unfortunately, they don't look for black people, and it's unfortunate. It sucks. He's not going to have a lot of opportunity, and this might be the best opportunity for him to try to land one of these jobs. The thing is, if you're Ben Johnson, you're white, you're creative, people like you, you're sexy, and your offenses and all that. You've got more. You've got more. Yeah. You're gonna be given more opportunity, and and that's the thing is because we look at the Rooney Rule, which is bullshit, by the way. They need to get rid of that shit because that's just like getting a black guy in the room and say, okay, we got the Rooney Rule. We're good. Get out of here. That's what they do with Gerard Mayo, which was garbage.
Yeah, no. DEI is a trap, but we get it.
Yeah. The thing is that Glenn has to take a coaching job. If he wants to be a head coach, this is his best time to take it because these other teams will find coaches. And more likely, let's be real, they're probably going to be white. Okay. So he needs to take this opportunity, whether it's with the Jets or the Saints. I would take one of those opportunities because he's familiar with both of those teams. He played for the Jets for a long time. He's been in the Saints organization. So he has the support of those two teams. And I think he could thrive. I really do. I think AG is made to be – AG is a leader amongst men. I don't know Ben Johnson is that type of guy. Ben Johnson could be like a Cliff Kingsbury who could look good. His offense could be sexy as hell. And then fail as a head coach. Or Josh McDaniels, same thing. He could just be a good OC. AG is meant to be head coach. There's a reason why he was the most popular player out of the NFL players. Because
most popular, most coach they want to play for or whatever.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like they love AG, and he deserves to be head coach. And when you listen to Dan's pressers, when he talked about AG, he spoke more glowingly of AG than he spoke of Ben Johnson. And I thought that said a lot because whether it's a sales job or whether he's truly being honest and authentic with what he's saying, he really put AG on the map with those comments. And I think that he's going to get that opportunity.
No, those two are road dogs, man. They've been together for a while.
Yeah, for
sure. Yeah, those two are road dogs.
All right, let's get to our last topic because I know I see Papa orders. It's his bedtime.
A question.
I know he's wearing goggles.
Did we ever actually talk about?
You better stop it.
I thought we were supposed to talk about Michigan basketball for a second. Did we ever actually talk about that?
Oh, we get into it. The NIL just took over that. You really?
I like
the Big Ten. That's a
Juwan Howard. Juwan Howard.
The Big 12.
Juwan Howard was a joke.
Vince fucked up too. Garbage. Vince fucked up from time to time. Shit, my bad.
They tried to go for the sexy hire, and Juwan Howard, just like Detroit went for Monty Williams of the Pistons, failed miserably. Didn't work. They got the right coach from a guy from a small school that took his team all the way almost to the Final Four. Good situation.
Okay. All right, here we go.
13-4. Wow.
Go ahead, Ed.
Oh, Oh, okay. Well, all right. I'll start. Yeah. So just evaluating both teams. I've been talking to DC from the 313. Man, we got an ongoing bet about who wins the head-to-head here. And I stand by this point. I think Michigan versus Michigan State. If Michigan State wins, it's going to be through their guards. I think they definitely have better guard play than we do. However, Michigan wins, it's going to be through their bigs. I think, to be very honest with you, I don't think Michigan State has an answer for the Big Ten from Michigan at all. At all. And I mean that. Xavier Booker is a bust. And to the point to where Paul was talking about with Tom Izzo. If Tom Izzo can't teach you, and I'll say this as a Michigan man, if Tom Izzo can't teach you, you can't be taught. You're just not that good.
You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
He's not that good. I think Xavier Booker is a bust. That goes to show transferring and whatnot is not always the answer. If that kid's just not that good. If he wants to transfer, he better go to Central or Eastern Michigan.
Yep.
That kid's not that good. And so I don't think there's a answer for Danny Wolf and Vlad Golden at all. I think Jackson Kohler and what's the guy you got, the Polish guy you bring off the bench, I think they both get beat up. But I do like Aiken better than a lot of our guards we have here. I like Fears better than a lot of the guys. Roddy Gale, man. Namari Burnett. Namari Burnett, to be very honest with you, is kind of a 5-star bust. And it goes to show you the level of coach that Dusty May is. That he's actually getting good play out of him. Health has been somewhat of an issue, but I just think that once again, the D1 level, some of these guys that come in with that, that prestige, that 5-star ranking. It's a different ball game. It's not high school anymore. Yep. So, and to the point of, the caliber of coach Dusty May has been excellent. I'll be real with you. I was not a fan of Juwan even being in the running for the Michigan job last year. Some guys just look good on the bench, man, behind a head coach. And that's kind of what I've always felt about Juwan Howard, man. I never thought Juwan Howard was going to be a head coach anywhere, maybe high school. But I never saw anything out of Juwan that would make me think that he was going to be a legitimate head coach, man. Came in, did a little bit of something with Beeline's players, and then as that talent dwindled, showed he couldn't recruit, and then showed he couldn't coach. And so now here we are here. And then as for State, typical Tom Izzo team. Well prepared, very disciplined, XYZ, everybody's in shape. So it's going to be very interesting to see the head-to-head this year. But I stand on that. If Michigan State wins, you're going to see the guards vastly outperform Michigan's guards. And if Michigan wins, you're going to see we talked about the Big Ten is just going to be too much for them. And I personally think in either matchup, there's nobody that can check Danny Wolf.
I'll actually agree with you there. Absolutely, I like Wolf. I like him a lot.
I like him on the Pistons.
I like him if he added a little bit more weight, though.
He's 250.
I'm sorry.
And
he's 250, legit. The kid's big.
He doesn't look 250.
He carries it well, man. He carries it very well. But that kid, what you actually see him post up, that kid's solid.
Okay. Yeah. No, I absolutely love him. And you're right. Like, that guy can't be taught on Michigan State. I mean, he needs to be benched or he needs to be moved off. But I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think it's going to be a battle of both. I think it's going to be a very close matchup.
Yeah.
And one thing you have to understand too, anytime you switch coaches at an early part of recruiting and all that, you're always trying to patch things up with a portal. That's why the portal's good, because you don't have time to recruit players because the season's about to start and training camp's about to start. So you have to fill them with players that you just pick up off the portal. Dusty May will have a full year to recruit his own players. Yeah. And the truth is that this roster that you have now will be a hell of a lot different next year, because he'll be able to have his own recruiting class come in.
Yes.
And you'll really see what kind of players Dusty May is going to bring into the program compared to what he has right now.
He's already got 2 5-star recruits. Got Trey McKinney committed, and then he's got a young man from Australia.
Great
and then
coach,
they look at great coach. Great coach. And I think the portal, but you see that, speaking on that, as we talked about the portal, look what Dusty May brought to Michigan via the portal. A junior and a senior. They could actually play. No freshmen. He ain't one of these other guys.
Well, he didn't want to win tomorrow. He wanted to set the tone early.
Yes.
Of the senior and the junior with experience that can do that.
Exactly.
And you want to bring in players you coached that want to follow you.
And look, and talent. Look, look what Wolf was doing at Yale, man. The talent was clearly there, but Dusty wanted character. I think Dusty, this is what I'm saying, with some of these freshmen, to me as a coach, You're coming in here, man, whether you're playing football or basketball. You're hopping right in that portal. If in order for me to offer you a scholarship, man, allow you to come, I gotta really sit down. I really gotta, see. I gotta meet you eye to eye, man. I really gotta look deep into your soul, see what your mettle is, young fella. Because part of me is going to think you just don't want to compete.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me thinks you just don't want to compete, man. Part of me gonna think, this guy.
It's funny. It's funny you bring that up because I would compare the portal to online dating. You're single for a reason, and you're.
Don't let me talk about that.
There's gotta be.
Nate. Somebody clip that. That's hilarious.
I got you.
If you're in the portal, it's because there's a reason why.
Yeah.
It's the coach. It's you.
It's
different than online dating. You gotta know who you're talking to.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it's good to have a coach that has confidence in his players, and that travels. And you can see that with Dusty May too. They got a lot of guys that was forgotten. Now he has confidence in these players, and they're healthy. Yeah. So it's gonna be like that with State, and I'm a State fan myself. But it always seems like every year with State, they seem to have these losses that you'd be like, how in the world did they lose against this team? It happens every year with Izzo. And you kind of like, what's going on? But they're a lot better this year, which I was surprised at. They better. And they, correct their mistakes.
Y'all got talent, man.
The losses, that's
not.
Those onesie-twosie losses that you just scratch your head about, it's usually a matchup issue that can't be resolved. That Izzo it is what it is. He can't do nothing about it. Which is like what you were talking about the one guy that just isn't getting it done. He's a bust. Like he make
Xavier Booker.
What?
Xavier Booker.
Yes. He is he may be the guy that he's still trying to put out there, and it's just a matchup, and it's just not going to work. But do you have enough to back him up? Is the backup better? Or is he too?
I think X is what that's my contention with some folks that are, because I've had people here, man. I stay in Grand Rapids, and a lot of these young men, man, I've coached against, whatnot, man. And so I know a lot of these guys. I got guys in my coaching circles talking about, Izzo doesn't know what he's doing. He's losing his touch with some of these guys, and that's what I'm talking about with some of the entitlement with a lot of these younger players. Because to be very honest with you, it's coming from a lot of the adults around them too. You know what I'm saying? Instead of us asking that, why aren't we asking, why isn't he seeing the floor? What is he not doing correct? The point is, man, X just is not that good. He's what he is. He's a rotational player at the college level. He's not a star. He's none of those things. And if Tom Izzo can't teach you, man, I doubt very much that you can be taught. And I think, to be very honest with you, I think what he's getting out of Xavier Booker, I think he's being coached up in that capacity. X looks uncoordinated. He looks like a guy, man, that I'm not the 7-footer playing against 5'8" dudes. Yeah, I'm not the 7-footer playing against a 6-foot center anymore. And so he's never really been that good. And so
you got no confidence though.
Exactly.
Confidence, there's nothing you can do.
Sometimes you don't have confidence for a reason, man. Sometimes you don't have confidence because you're just not that good. Yeah, and sometimes it is what it is.
Yes, sir.
You can have all the heart in the world and have the good work ethic, but if the talent isn't there and the drive isn't there anymore,
it's not there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not there. Even, when I play basketball, I always, play it's like I don't even like with the coaches, it's just in me. I don't want a coach to bring a fire into me. I want to get better my game.
Yeah.
I want that. I don't want to depend on a coach to make sure my game is better. I want to make my own game better.
I wish everybody had your mentality, but the reality is they don't. Some people need to be coached up, and some people don't need to be coached up.
Absolutely.
But the reality is, and here's the thing about college sports nowadays, with the portal, with the NIL deals, these coaches' hands are tied behind their backs. Because the reality is these players are making as much as their salary. and they understand that if they don't get success, their asses are out. Because you can always recruit players to the program, or you can always find coaches, but recruiting is huge. And when you recruit, the coach you buy the coach. It's not like pro. You don't draft a player that you feel is going to fit your culture. You have to pitch that to the player and make them buy into what you want to do. And the reality is a lot of these college coaches don't have the time or the time or the situation to do that. That's why Saban retired. Saban retired because he couldn't deal with that shit anymore. He couldn't deal with recruiting, having to keep players on your team, deal with players, picking up players on your team. Like, if you think about it, y'all, that's monotonous shit. Like, you got to worry about your own players leaving, keeping them happy. Then you got to bring in players that don't know your culture to make them happy. And then if they don't want to stay, they'll leave again. And then you got players that are getting bought by other teams for other money. Like, it's a crazy world that we're looking in college sports. And, there has to be some regulation to it. But the reality is, it's just a beast that you're just going to have to be able to play the game with. And that's what you see a lot of these coaches now. Yeah, the coaches are just having to fork the coaches, and universities are having to fork over a lot of money to bid for these players. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you want to be the one that's going to make the highest bid. I mean, they said Texas. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. That's why I look at there's abject failure on the part of college football. I'm gonna tell you why. When you look at college basketball, right? If the NCAA were to crack down on a lot of these things instantaneously, okay, there's some recourse for the players in terms of there's other options to get to the pros. If they do this with college football like it should be, what are the players going to do besides complain? Nothing. Yep. Because the only way you get to the NFL is through the collegiate system. Period. Yeah. So, period. There's no money in NFL Canada. There's no money in NFL Europe. There's none of that stuff. So whether you like it or not, you're going to adhere to this system that we implement. The truth of the matter is, man, yes, the NCAA is spending a lot of money via NIL, but they're also profiting a lot. This is just all the NIL is, man, is the wig taken off of the ugly chick, brother. That's it. This is what's been going on. This is what's been going on. I'm just keeping it a bean, man.
Ugly chicks need love too. Now, come on now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do.
And the reality is that you already opened up a can of worms. You can't close that can.
Exactly.
So it's only going to get worse. So there is really no regulation to it. It's just basically the better schools have the most money.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the highest bidders. Just like in football, just like in basketball, the better teams always have more money because they have higher revenues. They have more fans. They have a bigger base. They're always going to be in the bidding. Look at the Dodgers. They just fucking bought a rookie pitcher, one of the best rookie pitchers, and just added him to the payroll.
I just seen that across my team.
Crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You won't see a team like the Kansas City Royals doing that shit because they can't afford it. So it is what it is. It's just the reality of sports that if you have the more money, you're going to have chances at the bigger players. It just is what it is.
Baseball different. Baseball ain't got no salary cap.
See, and another thing too, even with basketball, it's players they don't even have to play college basketball. They can go to the G League and make money in the G League.
Exactly.
They get $100,000 in the G League.
Exactly.
And play pro ball there.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying.
I'm all for them playing the G League, man.
Yeah, the path to pro is wider when we're talking about basketball. The path to pro is not as wide as we're talking about college football. That's what I'm saying. On the side of collegiate football, there's nothing but abject failure there. The way that they've allowed this to implode and become the Wild West as it is, man, it's ridiculous. Complete buffoonery.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead, bro.
But the problem is that the NFL, the college football is the farm system for the NFL.
Exactly.
Like they have to go through college to get to the pros.
Yep.
And the reality is I think they have a good system for the most part. I think 3 years is enough time to develop an NFL player, develop the body, and then get him into the pros. I wish, like I said, basketball would do that, and now with this portal situation, like look at Carson Beck, rather than go to the NFL, be on a practice squad or be on the third or fourth string quarterback and making $500,000 or $1 million, he's going to go to college. He's going to finish his degree. Hopefully he's going to make $10 million, be with his beautiful woman. and he's gonna possibly can make the Canes a contender. You know, and he might not go to the NFL. Hell, he might say, you know what, I'll go to the UFL or something else and have a better chance. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy.
I don't think he'll be with that young lady at the end of next season. But all right. Bree, we've talked about this 1,000 times on the 313 XP. These young boys better learn, and who in God's name is raising them? Lord Jesus, I tell you it.
Well, TikTok's gone, so she's an influencer. So bye bye.
I guess, man.
February 19th, but
that's Jesus, Lord, because these young men, man, I tell you, brother.
But it's the sensitivity. These young players are sensitive too, man. You can't really tell them nothing.
Exactly.
Can't discipline them.
That goes back to the work ethic that he was talking about.
It does.
Guys, they become a freshman, and when they find out that they're not starting, they want to move to another team to get, instead of working at getting to your craft to become the starter, they just move to an easy system where they can be the starter. Like
that's what separates the great players from the good players.
Well, I'll say this, man. That starts at the micro level as well, man. It starts in the home life, and it starts with culture, man. When you have, particularly, with a lot of folks that look like us, a vastly matriarchal culture, this is generally what you're going to get. And now at this point, we're 3-4 generations deep into this foolishness. This is it was bound to happen this way, because you got so many of these young men that's coming to National Signing Day with their auntie on their left hand and their mama on their right hand. You got Shaquisha and Shalolo over here to the left.
Queen in the house.
And then they're told essentially it's their job to get folks out of the ghetto as opposed to be worried about their game. And so what you have
to mention, they don't have a father. They don't have a father figure to represent them.
Give
them
I was just about to bring that up too.
Point blank. Now look at this. Right?
Oh, there's never.
Look at Cormani McLean, man, with Colorado.
Oh,
brother, I could tell that was going to be a mess just by looking at his mom. Because you have a lot of these young men, man, particularly amongst college football, for whatever reason, you have a lot of son husbands.
Yep. I hear this all the time. You are absolutely correct, because they treat their mom like their girlfriend.
Because the mom has treated them like their man.
Yep.
Yeah. And another thing too is that, and I grew up with my mom and my sister most of my life. I mean, I have my dad in there, but he worked a lot.
Right.
So I was raised more feminine in some aspects than I was raised to be a man, because I didn't have my dad around me. I had all I knew was shopping, going out, being with my mom and sister, conversing all the time. Like, sports is what I did for myself as a man, but I didn't have that strong father figure that was influenced a lot in my life.
Yes.
And so I'm more tied to the hip with my mom and my sister, because now that my dad's gone, that's all I have. So, but the reality is that.
Sorry to hear that, brother.
Thank you. But when you don't have that father figure, that stern man to talk to you real and give you the facts of life and put you in place when you need to be put in place.
Preach, bro. Preach.
It's hard as hell to survive in this world, because all you know is what you've been around.
And look, and to be very honest with you, piggybacking on that, this is why I'm so against this injection of nothing but women into men's sports. You're seeing whether it's on the announcer booth, whether it's in the coaching. Let me say this, man. I ain't got nothing against our ladies at all, brother. However, man, as a minister, brother, I'm gonna say this. I'm all about the order. I don't know anybody's spiritual belief system, nor will I impress my beliefs upon you, but I'm about what the word of God says, man. There's an order to creation. I think once we started to pervert that, this is where we started to get all these issues that we just cannot control anymore. And so now when think about this. Let's talk about football. You have look at Michigan football, man. When Jim Harbaugh had a chick on there, she's some type of XYZ coach. Where did she earn that on the gridiron to have that position? Where?
It's just diversity. They're just trying to be more diverse. That's all.
That's not diversity is not always the answer, man. That's what I'm saying. When we get into this word diversity, we want to. That's the problem with this thing, man. This is why, as I said, DEI has been a trap. Because what it's done is, to be 100 with you, what's being done here on the national level, man. And I think sports is the best microcosm of this. They use what's called black plight as nothing but a Trojan horse to inject another a myriad of other social issues that the so-called powers that be want to engineer.
Look at the Rooney Rule. Let's just talk about the Rooney Rule for a second.
Yeah,
you have to
absolutely.
You have to have
last one, and we're gonna get to the last subject.
You have to have a black man walk into the building.
Y'all good. Good content. Good.
And you say, "Oh, we just got to satisfy the Rooney Rule. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
That's it."
That's it.
That's right. Asinizing. The fact is that black coaches deserve just as good a chance as white coaches do.
Right.
But the reality is, when you have a bunch of old boys as owners, they're not going to hire a black coach.
Mm-hmm.
Very far and few. It was amazing that D'Amico Ryans went with the Texans because the Texans owner said a lot of racist comments about owner implantations. And if I was D'Amico Ryans, I'd say, "You go fuck yourself, man. I'm not going to play for a racist owner."
But that's my point, right? As hard as it is for a black man to get these jobs, how does a woman deserve to get a job on the NFL stage? That's what I'm saying, man. Because at least those brothers actually played and earned it. Yeah. Where did she play and earn anything?
Sheila Head Ford turned this whole organization around. So
the brother, man, she's an owner. And she inherited her husband's money.
And that's another thing, too, I think a lot of people need to see is that the transition of coaching is going more to players.
Shout out to Sheila.
Shout out Sheila. You want somebody who's been in the trenches with you and somebody who's been in the games with you, not somebody who looks like a freaking guy that does your taxes, that's trying to tell you to play hard and to knock that guy's off his ass.
Todd Haley.
Or Mike McDaniels. He looks like a freaking tax accountant. I mean, you want somebody who's been in the trenches with you, who's played. Mike played.
He looks goofy, but he played. That's what I'm saying, bro. Yeah, he played. No, he was a quarterback. Believe it or not.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. That's the whole thing. I
didn't know that. So I'll take that.
He can look goofy as ever, man. But at the end of the day, I have to admit.
You know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying, brother. I know exactly what you're saying. And it makes perfect sense. Yeah. But no matter what, I have to admit, if I'm on the Miami Dolphins, coach has credentials. Yeah. Coach is actually on that gridiron. When you try to show me some chick that's in some powder puff league that y'all trying to market as real football, and she deserves a job over these guys that have actually paid dues here, that's ridiculous. And that's what I'm saying.
I will say this: he definitely deserves it. She doesn't deserve it over a black coach who's had experience, who's been in the system and deserves a chance.
She don't deserve it over a white man either, who's actually been on that gridiron.
Yes, sir.
Crazy man.
She don't deserve it over. Hey, bro, I ain't afraid to say it, man. She don't deserve it over a white man either that's actually been on that gridiron, or no other man for that instance.
Right.
Just like, look, and I'll be real with you. I don't believe you need to have men coaching females in the WNBA. Let the women coach the women. Let the men coach the men. It gets rid of a lot of issues. Gets rid of a lot of potential accusations. Keep things in proper order.
It's interesting.
And you know who have a problem with you saying that? Gino Auriemma.
I don't care nothing about Gino Auriemma, man.
Coach,
let's get into this last topic.
Yeah.
Get into this last topic.
Are we gonna talk about the matchup?
Huh? That's for the pregame show tomorrow. We have a pregame show tomorrow.
Shit.
We talk about D game though. Right now.
Man, you talked enough, man.
Yeah. Oh God, that's why you want
to. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Before I let everybody go through one by one and give their predictions on who they're gonna win and what the score gonna be and why they think gonna win, let's see what the Lions players say for themselves on the game and who they think gonna win.
No, they don't give a fuck. Oh yeah, for sure. Ohio State. Yeah, right here. Yeah. Shout out boy Caleb Down, man. We'll go Brock. I love all my teammates. Go everybody. Brock Wright or Taylor Decker? Here we go.
I just hope both teams have fun.
Come on. That's where you went? Of course, right here. It's tough. I don't know who's gonna win that game, bro. My buddy Brock Wright. Oh. That's my man.
That's your.
Oh. That's me.
Ohio State.
No, I hate to say this, but I'm gonna give it to Deck and OSU, man.
Ohio State.
Ooh, oh yeah, I know.
You got the down already?
Oh shoot. I do love my guy.
Yeah, Kyle's like, wow.
Deca.
Oh, wait. You.
I moved them off of you.
Ohio State. Go Bucks, baby, always. Shout out TD, my dog. Who do I think's gonna win?
Yeah.
Go Blue.
You did Notre Dame?
Go Blue.
Okay.
I like how they got all the practice squad guys first. Like, oh,
Marmal, what's up, family?
Hey, tell me Craig Reynolds wasn't running late to a meeting or some shit.
No, that was Leaf, bro. Was that Leaf or Reynolds?
That was Reynolds.
That's how you know they're programmed properly. Like when they're late, they
Belt
don't
to ass,
participate.
man. Belt to ass. Dan Campbell's gonna beat the shit out of him.
All right, Chris, give us your predictions.
Marmal, what up, family? What up, family?
Right now, it's a -8.5. So Ohio State favored to win, but unfortunately, I don't like Ohio State. So I'm just taking it for the simple fact I don't like Ohio State. But I'm going to take note.
You Hoboken.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ohio State by field goal.
I thought there was somebody saying that.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
Nate, who you got winning, man?
Well, I guess you gotta play that lady again. Listen, man.
You Hoboken.
That's a long ass neck.
Bro.
Hope I don't see her on the non days tonight. Listen, man. History's gonna be. All right, Stephen A. Smith, everybody. Hey, let me get my floor. History's gonna be made tomorrow night.
Okay.
Marcus Freeman is going to be the first black coach to win a national championship or whatever it is. And I'm so proud of him because you talk about, Ryan Day had a stacked team. He literally bought his team. $20 million in NIL money.
Right, the offense, just the offense, bro. The defense.
It don't matter. He paid. Do you know how many 5 stars Notre Dame has? 1. You know how many 5 stars Ohio State has? 14. I didn't put the right numbers up, but you get what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, Marcus Freeman, listen, when Brian Kelly got left to go to LSU, a lot of people wanted somebody else. And I loved how they stayed with Marcus Freeman. And you saw the players rejuvenate and rally around Marcus Freeman. Dude, this guy is Dan Campbell 2.0. I'm telling you, man. Chicago should hire him in a heartbeat because it would be the worst thing for us as Lions fans to see Caleb actually get a legit coach and a legit guy who's just going to turn that franchise around. But Marcus Freeman will win tomorrow. Notre Dame, Fighting Irish.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. Bullshit.
All right, man.
Dede, who you
like
got,
Smith.
man?
Smith's a dog.
Dede, who you got, man?
Man, as much as it burns me to say it,
Yeah.
Ohio State gonna blow the fucking doors off Notre Dame. They can't compete with those guys. Ohio State got like the superior athletes, except outside of maybe quarterback. I think Riley Leonard's a better quarterback than Will Howard. I really fuck with Will Howard.
What? What? Man, shut the. You don't believe that bullshit you just said. Man, come on. Notre Dame's quarterback was over like 95 yards a game. Go ahead, Dede. I'm sorry.
He won his game, though.
They got running back.
Dede, I said I was sorry. Go ahead.
You good? I picked you. You're over here.
Good shit.
It really depends on how Will Howard plays. He plays like a dummy. Notre Dame's got a halfway decent defense.
Yep. So NFL players.
I don't think it'll be. I mean, I said they blow the doors off them, but I still think it'll be like 34, like 21. Notre Dame gets like a garbage time touchdown to make it look like close.
Yeah, man. Look, I'll be honest with you. Little bro state gonna get broke up.
Please get out of here.
Little bro state. Little bro, look, that's exactly how little bro state gonna be looking at the end of the game. Just like a straight crackhead. But now, I think, and I say it for this reason. It's not because it's Ohio State.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You can ask Breed. I'm not a homer. Never, ever that.
We know.
I think Notre Dame is going to get exploited in the same manner that Michigan was able to exploit Ohio State. They play a similar style of defense that I think I can see them. I can see their O-line getting rattled. I can see them losing in the trenches. I can see them just being out physical, outworked, out muscled. And I see that Ohio State is a confidence team. So if they feel that they cannot bully you early, they generally don't gain momentum. That's the whole thing, man. Ohio State is not that kind of team. They either run you over from start to finish or they lose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I think Freeman's going to come well prepared to do just that. I think they play the style of football that's beaten Ohio State twice this season. And then run it down the gut, break them, outwork them, outmuscle them, and then go into Will Howard. Bro, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Will Howard, he's hit or miss. And I don't know if I trust him on this stage. I don't know if I trust Ryan Day on this stage, man. And when it comes to the big one, when it comes to the big one, I don't think I trust Ryan Day at all. Period. Now, granted, I'm gonna say this. I think he needs to win this game to keep his job.
Thank you.
Facts. Facts. Oh no, he'll be there.
I'm with you, brother, on that one.
Who they bringing in? Who they bringing in?
That's the thing, because we get asked this question, about stuff like we get obsessed. We get obsessed with a name often, right? The point is, if that name isn't performing, the guy got to go. We'll find a guy. We'll vet a guy. The point, you know what I'm saying? Your name can't be our record. If you can't win, and at this point you can't even win the Natty in Constellation for continuing to lose to a rival, they're going to terminate that man. And I think he knows that. So hold on. Look at this, man. Hey, now me personally, a point of me, a little bit of me hopes Little Bro State wins just so we can win next year again. So that's a guaranteed. That's a guaranteed W. That's a guaranteed W.
I think if he would have lost that game before the Texas game, he would have been out. But the beating Texas, I think saved his job for another year.
I think Texas. I think all these teams have the same issue, man. They're confidence-based teams. I think all these guys that they beat you from start to finish. It is what it is. I could tell when Texas was getting in a shootout with Arizona State, they were not going to beat Ohio State. It's just that simple, man. A lot of the things that Arizona State was doing to them, Ohio State was just going to do at another level. It was a battle of two egos, and then one ego won out. I think when you go at Ohio State, you challenge their manhood early, they fold, and there's a lot of repetition with this, man. They fold. Get up in the face early. Let them know that you're not there to just roll over early. They fold. I think Marcus Freeman is going to come well prepared to take away certain key weapons. I think they just play the kind of the style of ball that is tailor made to beat Ohio State. Does Ohio State have better talent? Absolutely. I think anybody saying that Notre Dame has the same level of athletes that Ohio State does, that's ridiculous.
Not at all.
Do I think that Marcus Freeman is a better coach than Ryan Day? Absolutely. And game plan matters, and also style of football matters too. I think Notre Dame gets it done by a touchdown.
Okay.
Steve.
Well, a lot of people predicted that Ohio State was going to be here anyway. Even guys like Sports Illustrated and stuff. They already said it off the get go. Yeah. But I do think Ohio State is going. They on a revenge tour. Ever since that loss to Michigan, they on a revenge tour. Because they want to save Ryan Day's job. They want to. If it not win this national championship, he might be gone. And even if he does stay and he loses to Michigan next year, might be in the same position.
That's a different story.
Yeah. But I just think I think
when he loses to Michigan next year,
I think it's probably going to be somewhere within. It's probably going to be like 41-24. Ohio State.
No way.
Yeah. Revenge tour.
Listen.
This guy.
Chase Clothes on y'all one time for the win time.
Oh my God, here we go.
Okay. I see.
I'm not a dog in the race. I'm not a Michigan or Ohio State fan. So y'all go.
OH.
Neither
you feel me? We're gonna show up and show out. You feel me? Smith had a bad game. You feel me? Because it was double government. You feel me? But this week, national
They had 3
championship.
guys on him, man.
That quarterback y'all don't like, Will Howard. He gonna throw over 300 yards against the Notre Dame defense. I know Marcus Freeman. I respect what he did. You feel me? He is Ohio State alumni. You feel me? He did come play for us. You feel me? So ain't nothing love for him for over here. But sometimes Daddy got to get a kid a whooping. You feel me? Ryan Day's job is on the line. He loses this, he's fired. So I think he comes with the big win.
His mental health is on the line too.
Right. I got this score 45-28 Buckeyes, baby.
Oh,
OH.
45.
I know you feel me.
OH
in the building.
OH.
I think y'all are underestimating how good that defense is for Notre Dame. Notre Dame
defense is really good.
How good our offense is.
They got pro players on that defense, man.
And we got pro players on defense too. And their quarterbacks suck.
Y'all couldn't even put away Texas, man.
And their running
Texas
back
was
is like
shit.
75%. He got that big ass bracelet. Like, no, ain't nobody worried.
Neil, this man, y'all better not self-inflict yourself, man, because that game has been blown out.
You got kids in this program, bro, that's been here for 5 or 6 years, bro, who own a mission, bro. They ain't gonna ease up, bro.
Well, stop scoring penalties, man, because y'all could have easily put
bring the daddy home, bro.
Shout out to my boy Mar putting the facts in the chat. Yes, that's right. The pressure is on Ohio State.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Sure, no doubt.
Yeah.
Ryan Day
little bro state with the Bambi legs. We know exactly what's going on here.
Do y'all remember?
Do
y'all remember who won the first college football championship?
Yeah.
It was Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
They switched to the 14 playoff or whatever. It was Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a chance to win the first one when they switch to an 8-team or 12-team. I mean,
and y'all know what they say: history repeats itself, right?
I just hope it's a good game.
But watch this. You know what the caveat to that is, though, Bandit? Ryan Day wasn't the coach.
It was Tressel,
right?
Tressel, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
But hey, listen. When you back a dog in the corner, when you back a dog in the corner, especially the dog, it's gonna fight for your life.
Bro, y'all not dogs, man. Come on now, brother.
Hey,
bro.
y'all are expected to win when you
A
put
Shih Tzu is not a real dog. That's a fancy rat.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
when y'all put that much money in the NIL, y'all are expected to win. Notre Dame
even a Chihuahua bites you, my dude. I'm just saying.
That's not a real dog.
Notre Dame's playing with
money. Dog.
They got
even a Chihuahua bites you.
Even a Chihuahua. We dogs over here, bro.
Okay.
You ain't no bulldog.
Hey, Neil, I got a question for
Where
you.
Bulldogs at right now?
Would you take Jack Sawyer on the line?
Gotta put the slit in the right now.
Hey, Nate asked a good question. Would you take Jack Sawyer on the Lions?
No.
Who?
I'd love Jack Sawyer, man.
Would I take Jack Sawyer on the Lions? Hell yeah.
I think he's a Campbell guy.
Hell yeah.
Dude ain't got no sack production.
At all.
Silly, bro.
Go look at it, bro. Go look at it. He has no sack production.
At all.
Is he a linebacker or is he
He's a Dan Campbell guy.
Man, he fucking,
no, he's not. He's not Dan Campbell guy. Dan Campbell.
Like James Houston or some shit, bro.
Dan Campbell doesn't lose games he's supposed to win and sit up there and scream at an 8-5 team. Your season is over.
Hey,
you
ever see the Dave Chappelle show? He had the player haters ball. I'm in the player haters ball right now with all y'all.
Bro, I can't hate on somebody I beat, man.
Man, it's all right.
That's like, brother. That's like, look, hey y'all fellas, bro. That's like saying you can hate on a dude who don't get a female, man. Talking about, look, you ain't never seen this dude with a girl. Talk about you can hate on a man.
I don't know how the hell y'all lost to Michigan without Will Johnson, man. That's a shocker to me, and no quarterback either.
Little bro state. We had a guy who's going to sell insurance next year passing the ball. We had a guy that's going to might open a car wash up in a couple of years passing the ball, and y'all couldn't win. I mean, come on, man.
It wasn't.
Didn't one of them retire? Didn't one of them retire?
Nate. It wasn't just Nate. It wasn't just Nate Johnson that was missing. They had a lot of starters missing.
Oh, Colton Loveland didn't play.
Yeah.
Colton Loveland didn't play. Hey man, Will Howard tried to sit up there thinking he was.
Why are we talking about last year?
But still this season, right?
Is Underwood the
last
real
year?
Is Underwood the real deal?
No, we're talking about this year.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Are you sure?
I am. I know all that kid's people. Seen the kid play. That kid's legit.
Oh, I know he can run, but can he throw?
Absolutely. Have you seen his production, his high school production, man? Kids are
high school transition.
Have you seen him? Have you seen him at the Elite 28?
I haven't seen that one. No.
Hey,
But that's probably the only recruit that's been the best quarterback at all 4 major quarterback camps in the last 2 seasons.
Are you talking about?
Go ahead, Chris.
Are you talking about Underwood?
Yes.
Yes. I watched his high school football. Now, granted, I didn't get to see some of the negative plays, which that's the problem. That's the problem with watching high school football. If you just see all the highlights, it doesn't give you the grand scheme. But I did watch some of it. He scrambles a lot, but he does have a good head. He does have a good arm now.
How does he fit with Sherrone Moore's offense? Because they're more of a run-based kind of offense.
He's a running quarterback.
They don't have receivers either.
He's not a running quarterback, man. He's a quarterback that has feet when he can scramble. That's why they hired old boy from North Carolina. That's the perfect offense for him. He runs a 50-50 split, running the ball and throwing the ball. He'll be able to showcase his skills.
Yeah.
From North Carolina?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That means that they're going to be run and shoot.
Yep.
That's with no defense.
They showed him in a video as he was walking onto the field, and he's a big dude.
The kid's huge. He's not 6. That kid's 6'5".
He's a slim can Newton.
Yeah. I'll say this, man. You saw how you saw how big and Bryce can throw too, man. That kid's got the accuracy is there, the decision making is there. I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. Just as a guy who plays football and coaches as well, I look for my thing is this: do you look for your second check down?
Yeah.
That's what do you look for your second check down? That tells me all I need to know. Do you go to your progressions?
Yeah.
Go look at Bryce's film. You'll see it. He already has that.
Yep. You can't be a first read guy.
I understand.
Yes.
Before we head out of here, I'm gonna say this. I understand you're all hype about Bryce Underwood, but right now, at this moment in time,
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
in the goddamn natty, not y'all. With that said, we're gonna let everybody know who they are before we head up out of here.
Y'all got Smith, bro. He's a dog.
I already know. I appreciate the 318 people that's been on. This is the longest show we ever had, 2 hours. You feel me?
Dang.
But hey, good content, big conversations. You feel me? I appreciate it. We're gonna let everybody know who they is and where you can find them at, and make sure y'all subscribe to everybody's channel that's on here. Starting with Chris, Paul, let them know where they can find you.
Hey, I'm Chris. You can find me at Crazy Hockey Fan on X. You can also find me on TikTok if it's still going to be here at Crazy Hockey Fan 1. Maybe moving over to Instagram though, so you never know. And you can also find me at 9:00 on Thursdays with Keegan as we talk Red Wing hockey.
I'm gonna tune into that, man. Yeah.
What?
I'm gonna tune into that.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Nate, you get your own podcast. Let them know about One Ass Chicken 3 Toes.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all y'all, man. It's good talking to y'all. Always love talking football. It's my second podcast of the night. We did our show earlier, and I was happy to come on Neil's show. It's been a minute. Yeah, man. You can find us at One Ass Cheek and 3 Toes on YouTube. Check out our show. I got 2 guys that we just talk Lions football day in and day out. And like I said, man, as Lion fan, we're just ready for the ride, man. Keep enjoying it. It's the best season we've ever had. I mean, you talk about coming full circle, going 0-16. I was younger when we went 0-16 to now 2 games away from the Super Bowl. Can't ask for a better situation, y'all. Go Lions.
I agree.
Steve.
Yes, sir. Reach me, New Breed 313 Sports, YouTube, all platforms, also podcast D313XP as well. And then my main channel, which is 313 The New Breed Real Talk. So all platforms, I talk about everything. I get hated on a lot with my main one, but it's all good. It's cool.
It's all good.
But those are all the platforms, and I'm gonna come out with two other platforms too, the FYF podcast and the Raise the Steak podcast later on this year. So y'all check that out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's good? My name is Ed, y'all. I don't have a channel. I'm just part of the D313XP. You can catch us 3 days a week. We normally stream Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Or we'll do an immediate post-game show to the Lions or Pistons games. Join the D313XP on Facebook. Check us out.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you head us out, bro. You know, cause they know who I am.
What about Chris?
I said Chris. I already got Chris.
I was first.
Okay. All right. Well, it's Day. You can catch me either right here. You can find me on Twitter at Markham246. Go ahead, Bandit. Let them know.
Y'all know who I am. Y'all make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. Detroit Fan Reporters. Make sure y'all go follow us on X at Detroit Fan Report, man. I appreciate everybody coming out here, man.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Thank you for having me.
But Bandit, but Bandit, what do they get?
Huh? I'm getting there, Chris. I'm getting there. Make sure y'all watch the pregame. We got a pregame show. Make sure you watch our pregame show tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. right here on Detroit Fan Report. Also, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button because when we get to 500 subscribers, we're giving out a free jersey. You get a choice: Lions, Pistons, Tigers, and Red Wings. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. You feel me? With that said, man, I appreciate y'all watching and coming out to Detroit. What up, though? On our 30th show.
What up, though?
Been 30th. Yeah, we getting up there. With that said, man, hit that subscribe button. We out.